Reversal. Chapter 1, Light. Are you sure you want to do this, Light? The older Yagami hesitates slightly, as if he regretted even giving Light the choice. Yeah, I'm ready. We need to catch this mysterious L figure. Light lets out a gentle breath. It's the only way anyone will ever be safe again. The list of names has been growing. It started with a single name a man later found to have attempted to assault a teenage girl outside a gas station. At first, it wasn't a case, just a well-served case of karma. The names began piling up, causing a panic in the nation of Japan. Every night, the news anchors would look grimly down at their papers, take a deep breath, and read names off of all their papers. Some of the names would be familiar convicted criminals or recently detained individuals, while other names were not present in police databases. It was only through hours of research that a link came out: these individuals committed crimes and were never arrested, due to a lack of evidence, police incompetence, or a lack of proper investigation. Every night, the list grew longer. Every day, L grew more bold and took more lives than the day before. It's the only way you'll be safe, Dad, thinks Light, though he doesn't voice the thought out loud. His dad hates when emotional responses or attachments play into cases, and Light doesn't want to get on his bad side before he gets assigned a role by the task force. Light follows his dad, paying close attention to anything that could be important later in the case. He is slightly disappointed to learn the only things that might be important in the cheap hideout the task force calls home is a rusty fire extinguisher and layers of dust. Immediately, Light can tell that the task force is mostly if not completely made up of unsanitary men. He reaches in his jacket pocket, thankful for the small bottle of sanitizer he always carries on him. The smell of coffee wafts through the air, strong enough to block the faintly damp smell that lingers. The lights flicker above head, and Light sighs to himself. Investigating a top criminal, and this is the best we can get. Light hears laughter from inside one of rooms and he immediately begins rubbing his head. This is really the best we can do? No wonder L is running around without fear. This task force sounds like a joke. Light had reservations about working to catch L. To be honest, each of his fears seems less like a fear since entering the rundown, abandoned motel in the shoddiest section of town possible. Everything he worried about: workplace hazards, incompetence, officers armed with weapons they shouldn't have, blunt homophobic comments from his father's officers, exposing himself to needless danger because of incompetence, and dying seem like real threats. From the flickering lights to a crack about similarities between women and gay men, everything Light thought would happen is slowly falling into place. All that needs to happen now is for someone to get fatally injured because one of the cops got his feelings hurt. Since Light has gotten older, he appreciates women more than he did before. He, admittedly, is still trying to fix some of his misogynistic behaviors and thoughts, but he has made a lot of progress, especially compared to certain members of the police force. But Light won't throw shade yet. Having women around makes Light feel safe. He's used to having his mom smooth things over in a way that he or his father could never do without help. He's used to ladies cooing over him when he looks at them, and he's grown used to being called beautiful and pretty by women. Women helped him embrace a part of himself that he felt he had to hide. Light wouldn't call it his inner feminine side, but if he ever tried to explain it to anyone, that is what he would call it. It's thanks to his mom sitting with him and helping him that he is even able to be here, ready to tackle one of the toughest cases Japan has ever seen. He'll never be in love with a woman, but he is learning to love them without further judgment or harsh thoughts. Upon entering the actual investigation room, Light wonders why he actually loves men. A loud, red-faced man yells at a small, friar-looking male while one of the other guys smokes a cigarette. A pot of expired coffee sits on a couch cushion, a dark puddle under it from where it had obviously spilled at some point. Heaps of random clothing lay in the corner, forming a mound of unwashed clothes. A half-drank bottle of orange juice sits on a table, right next to a laptop. Light almost screams. Why the hell do I like men? They're so unsanitary. Aside from that potential twink getting in a fight, have any of these men showered this week, or at any point in their life? What in the hell is that smell? Light almost starts sobbing. Being gay isn't a choice, and here's my proof. Who in their right mind would choose to be attracted to this? Lighto, cries the young male Light mentally called a twink. His soft, youthful eyes are complemented by his dark hair. The ever-changing lighting changed his hair from a raven black color to deep brown color. He gives Light a genuine, bright smile that causes Light to give him a polite nod. Nice to meet you. I'm Matsuda. Shut up, you complete idiot, snaps another officer. He gives Light a quick glance and turns away, clearly not impressed. He runs a hand through his thick, slightly untamed hair. It's your lucky day, Matsuda. They finally found you someone you might actually be able to impress. Maybe this one won't have to fake his laughter to make you feel better about yourself. The officers in the room laugh, a loud sound that makes Light flinch. He looks at Matsuda, seeing his cheeks redden slightly. Matsuda, even though standing tense, looks incredibly young. He has a boyish handsomeness to him that Light cannot deny, although he never admit it to anyone in this room. The fact Light is admitting to himself is more than enough. Matsuda's clothing looks clean, which causes Light to wonder why everyone else here looks like they could use a good shower. Maybe Light has a friend here after all. Enough. The sound of the elder Yagami's voice silences the room. Please introduce yourselves to my son. And then, get back to work. Yukida, says a man fixated on a computer screen. You can call me Moji. Despite his stern look and broad build, Moji has an unusually cheery tone. He's not exactly what Light would define as attractive, but Light takes an interest in him. Who is this guy? Does he fit in here? Aizawa, says the man with the untamed hair. He sounds thoroughly displeased, as though Light did something personal to him. Something about Aizawa is deeply unattractive. Light almost lets out a gasp when he sees the wedding ring on Aizawa's finger. Who would want to marry him? Light gives everyone a curt yet polite nod. Hello everyone. My name is Light Yagami, and I'll be helping to catch L. Since I'm new to the task force, I need a brief rundown of everything: evidence, potential suspects, connections. I know the victims that have been announced on television, but if I'm missing any victims, please fill me in. Light gives the group a smile, hoping he's won a couple of them over. No evidence, spits Aizawa with anger. The bastard leaves no trace. No fingerprints. No security footage. No DNA. No flaw to be found. It's as if he doesn't really have to do anything to get the crime committed. He may not even have to make contact with the victim in order to kill them. It is strange for a killer. Matsuda rubs his boyish face. Most killers have an interaction with their victim. Even a brief interaction counts. In order for L to have interacted with some victims, he would have to be very old. Some of the victims have been locked up for over 60 years. American-French inmate John Deflance was arrested at age 15 for assault and 5 murders. In order for L to have interacted with them, he would have had to have been young back then. He'd also have to be able to frequently travel. L has killed victims in Japan, Russia, the United States, Haiti, France, and maybe even Spain. That's ridiculous, argues Aizawa immediately. Firstly, most of L's victims are located in Japan. Those other victims could be unrelated to L. Secondly, killers kill without knowing their victim. Look at all the serial killers out there. Do you think they sit down and have tea with their victims? Matsuda. I think Matsuda may be onto something, murmurs Light softly, hearing the room fall silent. Don't take him seriously, comments Aizawa with an eye roll. No, hear me out. I think it'd be practically impossible for this L to know all these victims, even if we ignore all victims from foreign countries. Neighbors live next door to each other, and half of them don't know each other. I doubt this L knows every person in Japan. The statistical odd of that is practically impossible. You can narrow that extremely thin probability down to nothing due to a couple factors. 1. There is no evidence at any scene. Several of these killings have occurred in broad daylight, with surveillance cameras at every corner. Each camera has a good angle. Searching through each, have you found one person who has been present at every crime? Even finding someone who was present at 3 of those crimes is going to be impossible simply because of how spread out these killings are across Japan. By now, there would be a photo of L. Even a sliver of L at each crime would prove the idea that he knows the victim. Secondly, some of these inmates weren't allowed visitors. I doubt that L memorized the names of hundreds of inmates from his childhood, especially if L is older. How would he remember these victims? If you went to the grocery store today and met 5 people who told you their names, would you be able to correctly recall their names and faces in a month? How about a year? 5 years? 10 years? 25 years? 45 years? L can't be remembering all these people without help. Thirdly, why would interactions with these individuals be so meaningful that L would be able to remember them? L could not possibly be a victim in each case. He isn't killing people because these people specifically hurt him. In the case of Tyler Richards, all of his victims were murdered, and the remaining family members died. He killed 2 sisters, and their parents killed themselves after. The bloodline died off with the parents' deaths. L can't be a victim of Tyler Richards. L can't be a victim at each robbery if he can't be found in surveillance footage. L can't be everywhere all at once. Well, I suppose, replies Aizawa with a huff. Also, do we know for sure that L is a male? Light raises an eyebrow. Aizawa lets out another huff. No, but dash. Fantastic? Let us not rule out the possibility that L could be a girl. If L is a girl, things are tilted in her favor. Everyone believes she's male, so they completely rule out the possibility of her committing a crime. Especially if L is an attractive lady. Light gains a smug smirk. A beautiful lady killed someone, and all men can wonder about is if she thought they were appealing. Do you think L is a beautiful young lady, Light? Asks Yukata in a soft voice. I won't rule out the possibility, but I doubt it. I need to think about L for a few minutes actually. Meaning? Asks Light's father in a gentle tone. Broad details about L. I need an age range. Narrowing L down to a specific social class would be beneficial too. Can I have a couple of population maps with the victims? I want one with the first 10 victims, one with the first 20 victims, one with the original 50 victims, and one with every victim so far. Light takes a seat on a couch cushion. Also, can someone please tidy this place up? Someone is going to die from a workplace hazard before L has the chance to find out we're investing him. Matsuda can clean the place up, since he doesn't do anything else, offers Aizawa with a snicker. Perfect. Light gives Aizawa a cheeky grin. That leaves you to make the population maps by hand. Don't worry, all you have to do is draw little dots onto a map where the victims have died. Can you explain the purpose of the population maps? Asks Moji as he picks up a couple pieces of trash to throw away. What are they going to do? Well, Matsuda made me consider something. L cannot know every victim. But, L might have started killing their victims in locations they felt most familiar with. I suspect their first few victims were killed close to home, while L was still getting used to killing people. After they felt comfortable with their power, they moved out. Light crosses his legs. L didn't start killing people in America or France or Russia. No, they started somewhere familiar. They might have interacted with their first few victims. Neighborhood menaces, creepy guys that always lurked in the same area, and stuff like that. Something familiar to warm up with before diving in. Revisit the first few victims, Yukata. Find their addresses, places of employment, and where else they regularly appeared. Favorite stores, restaurants, bus rides, or anything else could put them in a starting area, orders Yagami with an authority that no one questions. Light becomes surrounded by a flurry of sudden movements and reactions before he can process what happened. Drawers open and slam shut, markers scratch against papers, computer keys are quickly pecked at in a broken melody, orders are faintly given. Light likes the sudden burst of activity. These men may finally be doing something that could help find L and stop all these murders. It's not until Light has the first few population maps in front of him that he feels like he finally found the first clue. The killer started here. Right here, where all the task force calls home. Light has always thought of area where he lived to be rather dull and boring, although that's not true anymore. The streets always seemed relatively safe. Aside from some stray cats and a relatively small homeless population, the streets were always empty at night. People, up until this point, always felt safe walking the streets at night. Robberies happened in brief spurts, 2 months where robberies occurred frequently followed by 10 months of nothingness. Everything about this place had seemed boring, uninteresting enough that many teenagers moved to the more crowded cities in Japan in search of adventures. Light examines the first population map carefully, blocking out the sound of Matsuda doing the dishes in a nearby room. He traces a thin line with his finger, which trembles slightly when Matsuda drops another dish. Trying to connect a pattern between the first 10 crimes is complicated and moving his finger around isn't helping. Light knows the gas station where the first victim was found, he would go there to get snacks after school, and he would drink their coffee on the way to his college morning classes. He remembers one of his friends smoking a cigarette out on the curb, yelling at Light to hurry up. Is there anything there worth investigating? Did the cops miss anything? Light straightens up slightly. The first case occurred late at night, which gives Light an idea. Tomorrow makes a month of L tormenting Japan. Will they return to their first crime scene? Or, rather, will they celebrate this anniversary by other means? Light sits down on the floor, surrounding himself with papers. Dates, names, times, addresses, and photos blur together in a swirl, creating a beautiful yet erratic picture that leaves Light unable to speak. The answer is right there, somewhere in this vivid hallucinations Light has created to process information. So close, and yet. I don't know. Light lets out another soft sigh before perking up. Does tomorrow mark an important day for any criminals? Execution date? Imprisonment date or conviction date for any major criminals? Are we speaking solely in Japan or globally? Asks Yukata. Focus on Japan. Think of Japan as the main focus with all other countries being background noise. Light clasps his hands as though he were in the middle of a prayer. Unless something major is set there for tomorrow. Let us say we found out that tomorrow is an important day for a criminal in Japan. Aizawa unclam his hands. What difference would it make? Could we stop L? Not necessarily, replies Light bluntly. But we could learn a lot about them from this. We'll learn whether this L shows any sort of sentiment towards important dates in their life. I wonder if L wants to watch their victims die. Do you think they like watching their victims die? That's disgusting, replies Aizawa. Perhaps they like hearing about their own crimes. Maybe they're enjoying the mystery. Will they be caught? Does anyone know who they are? Are the police on their tail? Will they get away with their crimes? What does the public think about their deeds? Moji offers Light a gentle shrug. I'm sure that this L has multiple trains of thought going at all time. They might already have their plans for tomorrow set in stone. They might have had them planned since the first victim was successfully killed. We will catch L. When we catch them, we'll make sure that they never see the light of day again. We'll make sure that L goes into the cold, dark ground, and that L cannot terrorize these streets anymore. And in the end, we'll be the ones throwing a celebration, one to honor the capture and execution of L, proclaims Light with a grin. I like your style, little Yagami, comments Aizawa with a grin. The game is on, L. And I refuse to lose. Chapter 2. LL curls up against the side of the building, wrapping himself up in his tattered blanket he got from a kind-hearted woman at the shelter. L's stomach rumbles slightly, although he knows it'll be a couple more days before he can find some sweets to snag. He has to be careful taking candy from the large dumpster behind the overpriced, commercial candy store. The candy store would start lacing the candy if they found out some freak is getting candy out of the dumpster and not paying for it. He would pay for it, but he simply doesn't have the money for it or any money at all. He could use his death note to compel his victims to bring him candy, but he needs to maintain a low profile. Even one mistake could get him tossed in a dark cell, regardless of whether or not the police found the death note. Would it really be that much worse in prison? At least I'd have somewhere warm to sleep, thinks L bitterly. All this, thanks to that bastard Roger. The police were investigating all sorts of motives for L's origins and reasonings: victim of a violent crime, vigilante, undiagnosed mental illness, former cop gone rogue, and roughly 15 other commonly accepted theories. The truth, the one that only L knows, is that L exists for none of those reasons. L exists because Roger, the head of the orphanage he stayed at, was a hateful bastard. He was fine with L, until the day the psychiatrist talked to L and asked him about all his patterns and habits and behaviors. After Roger talked to the psychiatrist, he wanted nothing to do with L became a child without a home at the age of 11, only a year after he had ever been welcomed into a home. He'd lost his home before he had a chance to get used to it. Roger is responsible for L. L runs his finger over the cover of the death note. One day, L will kill him too. He'll be another criminal, a faceless name announced on the news. L would kill him right now, but L wants to be near a television when they announce that Roger has been found dead. He wants the world to know that he, L, is responsible for Roger's death. He'll have to customize Roger's death. Maybe he can step out in front of a bus or cozy up inside a fireplace for an hour. L wonders if he could get Roger to tie himself immobile in the middle of nowhere until he starves to death or dies from dehydration. L will have to mess around with the death note and find out its limitations. For the most part, he sticks to the standard cause of death, only switching it up when he really doesn't want to be connected with the individual. He opens it, turning to a clean page. Here, in a dark alley forgotten by most, he can safely carry out his plans. Between the runaway kids, the pretty prostitutes who always call L sweetie or honey, and the drunken men who roam around late at night, no one really stops to take notice of what L does, nor do they care. Everyone who is stuck in these rough, unforgiving streets are trying to find a way out, not meddle around in each other's business. Besides, L rarely ever sees anyone else anymore. The streets are cold, and the only people who linger on the streets are those without a choice. He is safe to begin his work for tonight. He pulls out his pen, jotting down some names from the newspaper he found. He reads over the descriptions of their crimes, deciding to allow one of them to live. He might come to regret his decision later, but L finds himself unable to write down the name of a 16-year-old arrested for killing his little sister's abuser. It might show the police department that he is sentimental, although L finds it could work in his favor. They could think he is sentimental towards juveniles, or they could think he is partial to victims of abuse. Neither of those things could lead the police department to him. He's been doing this for 7 months now, and the police still have no idea what they are doing. He moves down the list, selecting a name, Onidinampo. He can be L's test subject. L stares at picture next to his name. Nampo has a smug grin in his mugshot photo, his eyes filled with glee. He has dark hair, although L can't tell what specific color due to the black and white ink. He has a heart-shaped face, and L can see the start of a tattoo on his lower neck. He's oddly pretty, and the thought makes L's stomach churn. The paper says he just turned 23, and L wonders what horrible thing he did to end up in prison. L reads his section with no small amount of interest, deciding that if his crime is minor, he might leave the man unpunished. Japan has many strange, perhaps even cruel laws that deem certain people such as L criminals for things beyond their control. After learning that Nampo is responsible for kidnapping a teenager and holding them hostage for drug money, L decides to write his name in the death note, albeit with a twist. L is only being kind because Nampo took good care of the teenager he abducted. L also understands that drugs are so good at making things feel better. Onidinampo goes to bed. He falls asleep and dreams of better days. Before the sun rises, he suffers from a brain aneurysm. He dies in his sleep without feeling anything. L moves into his next name, Doi Hitachi. He's a balding man with tattoos running up and down the side of his face and neck. His wide grin reveals that he is missing multiple teeth, likely from all the bar fights he gets into. At 30 years old, he has committed so many crimes that L has no issue deciding to use him as a guinea pig. No one will miss the disgusting bastard. He'll look so beautiful 6 feet in the ground that L thinks it would be a crime to not to allow the man a moment of true beauty. He just got out of prison too, allowing L to have less restraints with his experiment. Doi Hitachi goes to the hardware store and buys several feet of metal chains. He goes home and ties himself to the bed, tight enough that he can't escape. He tells no one of his plans. He dies of starvation. L closes his notebook, deciding that he has done enough judging for tonight. The world will still have plenty of criminals for him to judge tomorrow, when he is slightly warmer and hopefully well fed. He always tells himself that he'll feel better tomorrow, but he rarely does. He goes to bed cold, and he wakes up with a cough that never completely goes away. He used to pray to God, but he gave up faith years ago. The only biblical figure he has any respect for is Mary, the mother of Christ. He knows that she would shun him away for his crimes, so he no longer prays to her either. He's not actually sure that what he did before counted as praying anyways. It was a soft muttering of how his day had went, hinted with a deep reverence for the woman who had birthed a son she knew was doomed from the beginning. Loliot, I was able to snag you a few pieces of candy. L turns to stare at the Shinigami in amazement. He floats in the empty space, looking like a ghost. Dressed in a black suit and white button-down shirt, he looks like he belongs at a party rather than in this section of town. His gray hair is neatly pushed back, and L finds it funny that the Shinigami even has a head full of hair. The rest of his body is composed of hairless skin that appeared an almost sickly gray color, although his bulging eyes may add to his sickly appearance. The skin on his face is stretched tightly, making his bones appear as though they are about to pop out of his strangely shaped face. Despite how terrifying Watari looks, the Shinigami has the personality of a kind grandfather. He always brings L food or more blankets if he can. He warns L of police that are getting close to his territory, allowing L to flee before they find him curled up next to a dumpster and arrest him for not having a home. Thank you, Watari-san, says L, accepting the Shinigami's gift. He looks down in his hands, surprised to find that Wattery brought him 3 sugar cubes, 2 chocolate bars, and something gummy. I really appreciate it. If I could find a place for you to live, I would. Wattery tilts his head at Elle. I see that you've finished your judgments for tonight. May I ask for any details? I killed 13 tonight, and I spared 1 individual. Elle lets one of the sugar cubes melt on his tongue, letting out a soft moan when the sweet taste fills his mouth. I tested 2 new theories tonight. Oh. Wattery perks up at hearing that. I am going to cause someone to die of a brain aneurysm. I have no reason to believe such a thing would occur otherwise. It should be painless. Elle puts another sugar cube on his tongue. As for the second one, he's my real test subject. I want to know the limitations of the death note. I'm starting off simple enough, but I plan on testing more complex theories soon. This particular inmate was recently freed, and I want to know if the death note allows you to give someone an incredibly slow death. What sort of death? Questions Wattery. Starvation, replies Elle in an unbothered tone. At one time, such a thing might have at least bothered him. Now, pain and suffering feels more natural and righteous to Elle than joy. Such morbid things no longer bother Elle. Wattery is silent for a moment. The victim will likely die from dehydration first. I see no reason why that cause of death wouldn't work. There are causes that won't work, but I believe the death note sorts that out without further issues. Like what? Elle has always been curious. He never got a formal education after Roger kicked him out, although he already passed some of his high school classes by that point. He couldn't go to school without having a guardian or safe place to live. He had been too afraid to be placed in another home, only to be rejected and left on his own again. It had been safer for Elle to take care of himself. He has been teaching himself from books at the library, but he can only go there for so many hours before getting kicked out. When he is truly lucky, one of the prostitutes will give him something they no longer need: a cocktail wine dress, a nursing textbook, a forensics textbook, a playbill from the nearest theater, a bottle of unopened soda, a long-sleeve shirt, a silk bathrobe, and a few dictionaries. He always accepted their gifts, allowing them to linger in his space in return. He'd sit and read what they gave him, trying to piece together gaps in his knowledge. He understood science the most, with him noting he had a few gaps in his understanding of grammar. I really am unsure, Lolliot. You have done more with the death note than I ever have, admits Wattery in a soft tone. There are something you can't do. I imagine you couldn't get someone to kill themselves on Mars, as we have no way of getting there. Perhaps the deaths have to be within reason. That would make sense. Elle eats the last sugar cube Wattery brought him. I'll see next time. Next time I'm out, I'm going to try and find you another thing of toothpaste. Wattery offers Elle a smile, although it is slightly terrifying. My dear boy, you'll have no teeth left if you only eat sugar and never brush your teeth. And I haven't been able to shower in a while. I'm a hot mess, Wattery. My teeth probably aren't the biggest problem, ponders Elle. Does it really matter? Elle sighs. I'll be dead before I'm 29. It won't matter if I have my teeth. Don't say things like that, chides Wattery in a stern tone. Things don't look great now, but in a couple years, you could be in a better state. A better state? We're not in America, Wattery. Japan doesn't have states, replies Elle. Maybe life would be better if I wasn't in Japan. I don't really remember that much of my life before Japan. Perhaps you can go and explore the world one day. You're still young. Wattery looks at Elle for a moment, and it's almost like he is looking through Elle. Oh Lolliot, you have so much potential. I know. Elle stares at the dark sky above him, taking in the few stars he can see. One day, I hope I'll be able to use my full potential. I did hear something interesting tonight, comments Wattery in a thoughtful tone. One of the guys at the candy factory was talking to another employee on his way out. He said something about his brother being on a highly classified team working to stop Elle. What? Elle almost spit out the piece of chocolate he had started eating. Why am I so surprised? I knew this day would come eventually. I've suspected such a team has existed for some time, but to have it actually confirmed is fascinating. Apparently they have told their families, which is a big mistake. It could get them hurt. I won't target them, but if I have to remove them, I will. You should never give people more information than what they need. The head of this operation has named themselves. Wattery leans closer to Elle. Kira. Kira, repeats Elle, curious of how the name would sound on his tongue. He hates that it feels so natural, so right. Kira. That's interesting. I wonder where Kira's hideout is located. Probably somewhere secure, suggests Wattery. Maybe. Elle smirks. Or maybe not. Do you think you know where it is, Lolliot? Wattery stares at Elle with an unreadable look. Not really. Elle lets out a yawn. Besides, I need to stay away from it. I don't look like I belong near a top secret in investigation. I look rough. Rough is a kind way of putting it. Elle's dark hair stood in every direction possible, filled with so many knots that Elle simply gave up messing with his hair. His wide, unblinking eyes have dark circles beneath them, and they have surely grown larger than the last time Elle saw them. His face feels dirty, as does the rest of his body. His fingernails are chipped and uneven, dirt shoved underneath of them. His feet are beyond filthy, a consequence of having no shoes. He can't imagine how bad he looks with all the small details he can't perceive: dirt spots on his clothes, the funky odor that clings to him, bruises on his skin, the cracks in his lips, and the bones that stick out too much. You should try to rest. You look tired. Wattery flutters over to Elle, adjusting his blankets slightly. I'll watch over you. Thank you, mumbles L, almost ready to drift to sleep. Good night, Wattery. Come on, Kira. Let us play this game. I have absolutely nothing to lose, thinks L before falling into an uneasy, restless sleep. Notes. L's origin story is different than any of the material sources for a couple reasons, with the biggest one being the removal of Wattery as a person. I wanted Wattery to be L's Shinigami for a particular reason. I originally considered giving the role to Beyond, but I have a different role in mind for him. I wanted Light to keep most of his origin story, and I kept L's roots, an orphan, and simply expanded on them. I also didn't realize this until I did a little research, but apparently Japan is incredibly strict with their incredibly small, homeless population. From the limited research I did, it appears that homelessness may actually be illegal in Japan. Chapter 3, an update. I did exactly what you asked, says Takeda in a soft tone. Light wonders if she's pacing around her house, a habit he noticed that she tends to do whenever she is on the phone. I even contacted Doishika and got Station 9 on board. Is it possible that L isn't using the news to find their victims, muses Light. That has some very interesting implications. Do they suspect that we contacted every station within Japan's regions to narrow down where they get their news from, as well as find out where they currently are? Or, have they not been using the news as their primary information source the whole time? How much overlapping occurs between the televised news and L's information source? Did match with the newspaper. At least that's what Mikami said, continues Takeda, unaware that Light zoned out and missed a good bit of whatever she was saying. You know Mikami. He compared the names and said they mostly matched. L occasionally spares a victim, I guess. What newspaper? Asks Light. Mikami? What's the name of that paper? Light hears Mikami's muffled voice in the background. Mikami called it Japan Daily. Thank you. Light needs to find out where that newspaper circulates. Is it a local paper or countrywide? Where is the office set up at? How do they select what criminals to feature in their paper? Do they know that L is using their newspaper as an information source? Does L use any other newspaper? Takeda is quiet for a moment. Misa said she's stopping by on her way home. Apparently some other model has been acting weird about L, making strange comments about wanting to serve L and knowing him personally. Light notices the way that Takeda assigns L a gender. Light had already been thinking L was a man anyways. Does this model have a name? Beyond something, mutters Takeda. Like, Beyond Party? No. Beyond. Beyond Birthday. His name is Beyond Birthday. Beyond Birthday, repeats Light in a soft tone. The name rings a bell, but he cannot place where he has heard it before. Light doubts Misa ever mentioned him, knowing that she preferred not to talk about the other models. Maybe he's seen a poster of him before. I'll check into it. Technically, saying you support L and believe in his cause doesn't make you a criminal, but it gives me a lead. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen you. Takeda's voice holds a longing hint in it. We all miss you. I know. Light stares at the board laying out all the evidence. Papers, photos, files, and writing fill it, yet no one is any closer to finding L than they were a year ago, when L first made his move. A significant amount of progress has been made since Light joined the team, but they still have a long way to go. I miss you all too. I'm hoping to have this all solved up within the next year. That isn't very promising. Takeda lets out a sigh. I thought you were making good progress. We are. Things are just coming up. Light rolls his eyes. It's hard to find a killer with no face or witnesses. The amount of backtracking I have to do is ridiculous. Evidence from the first few cases was mishandled, so that evidence can't even go to court. Well, you better make it quicker. Mikami has been rather upset. Takeda lowers her voice. He's been bitching about losing all his clients to L. He's also been so mopey when I've went on dates with Misa. He feels like a third wheel. It's not like we were together, hisses Light, cursing the defense attorney out his head. They tried dated once, and they were awful for each other. They lasted the total of one awful week before agreeing to never speak of that week again. Of course not. Takeda laughs at the idea. She has no idea that they actually tried dating, and Light plans on keeping it that way. But the two of you were single together, I suppose. Light glowers at the thought of his love life. Since he joined the L investigation, he barely even has time to see Seo. He rarely leaves the shady motel that serves as a base for the investigation, so he doesn't even have the chance to meet people. When this is over, Light is going to a bar, ordering a drink, and hooking up with the cutest guy there. Actually, scratch that. The idea of having sex with some guy in a bar sounds terrible. Yeah, I have to let you go, but let me know if I can provide any more help. Of course. Goodbye, replies Light as he hangs up the phone. Light walks into the main investigation room, seeing Moji typing away on the computer. Matsuda is on the laptop, doing whatever it is he does. Light's father sits behind the makeshift desk, writing someone down. The other officers must be home, resting before coming back for another shift where it seems like nothing gets accomplished. It's a miracle that they keep coming back. Moji-san, I need you to look up the Japan Daily newspaper. Find out where it is printed from. Find out where it circulates. Find out how they choose which criminals to feature. Look to see if they have any political affiliations. Light tilts his head. Try and find out if they sympathize with L. Of course, Light-kun, replies Moji immediately. May I ask why you care about a newspaper? Light's father looks up from the papers he was working on. He looks in need of a good nap. Takeda did as I asked. Every district aired a curated list of apprehended criminals, and none of the victims late yesterday and early this morning match what was broadcast in any district. However, she said that Mikami noticed they matched a list found in a newspaper, replies Light in a monotone voice. L could have been using newspapers the whole time. Perhaps L is a very wealthy, affluent member of society after all. Matsuda lets out a bitter, lifeless laugh. The rich always love judging. Hidden up in some fancy house, far removed from the rest of us, casting out their judgments on the world. Matsuda-san, I highly doubt a rich person cares about a common thief who stole a couple bucks from a gas station, comments Light in a neutral tone. Maybe L works in a more affluent neighborhood. Rich people love newspapers for their gossip, mutters Matsuda gloomily. Why do you know so much about rich people, Matsuda, asks Moji. My parents. My father was a doctor. My mother was a trophy wife. Matsuda closes his eyes. Of course, that was before they disowned and I never talked to them again. But, back when I lived with them, my mother read the papers constantly. She judged everyone. Maybe. Light ignores the urge to sink his teeth into his finger. Matsuda-san, I need you to research Beyond Birthday. Oh, I know him. He stars in porn. Matsuda, do not say such indecent things around my son, chides Soichiro in a stern tone. Why did you answer that so quickly, Matsuda, asks Moji, although no one answers him. Well dad, it is what it. Light tries to calm his father. His father still sees him as an innocent child and not a 23-year-old who lives with 3 other adults. He knows about sex. Why are we investigating a porn star? Surely we could be doing other things, tuts Soichiro in a stern tone. Apparently he's been saying he knows L. Light sees Matsuda start searching his name. Now that could be worth investigating, hums Soichiro. Is it possible that this could all be a test from L? Is he trying to what connections we have? Is it possible that Beyond is a paid actor, told to say that stuff in hopes of attracting attention? Or, could Beyond be under L's control? Light tilts his head. Does L view adult content as a crime? The Japan Daily is local to here. Paper copies of the newspapers circulate here, but their online edition is available to anyone in Japan willing to pay the subscription fee, mutters Moji as he hunches over the computer. The company owner, Takata Kichiro, gave a recent speech about L. What did he say? Soichiro clicks his pen. He said, I, personally, have no stakes in this L business. I am not a criminal, so I needn't worry myself with such things. He hasn't made any other statements, replies Moji. However, some of the opinion pieces published by the writers show support for L, while others show disdain. Any idea how they select what criminals they are going to feature in their paper? Asks Light. No, answers Moji glumly. I figured they might not make that information available. Thank you, Moji. Light looks in Matsuda's direction. Found anything worth mentioning? So, Beyond Birthday is an American model, actor, and songwriter. I wonder who the porn star was I was thinking about. Matsuda, roars Soichiro. Sorry. Beyond was born in California, and he moved to Japan following a modeling contract when he was 17. Matsuda frowns. That's weird. What? Questions Moji before Light gets the chance. Well, I had to leave the official Beyond Birthday page, but apparently both of his parents were killed. Matsuda begins typing on the laptop. They were murdered when Beyond was younger. I suppose that would make someone unsympathetic to L's victims, mutters Moji in a neutral tone. Well, it gets better. The killer, Donovan Smith, was released on parole 2 months ago. He dropped dead 2 days later, and an autopsy revealed he had a heart attack. Matsuda continues to look at the laptop screen. American authorities believe L is responsible for this crime. Maybe Beyond feels that he owes it to L to rally support for his case, as a thank you. Soichiro sighs before taking a drink of his coffee. Rallying support is very different from claiming to know him, replies Light. Maybe he's trying to make L seem more human. It's very hard to feel connected to a nameless, faceless entity, especially if you have no reason to connect with it. We don't know Beyond, so we can't exactly judge his motives. We have an idea, but that's not solid proof, comments Moji. Maybe Beyond is doing it for attention. Maybe he's doing it because he's bored. A knock on the door stops the conversation. I'll get it. It's probably Misa. Light peers out the window, seeing Misa standing outside. He opens the door. Hello. Takeda said you'd be stopping by. What a pleasant surprise, says Moji, sounding overly happy about getting a short break. Misa, cheers Matsuda, waving his hands in the air. Hello. Misa waves to everyone, allowing Light to shut the door behind her. She refuses to take her shoes off, and Light completely understands. She stands by Light's desk, refusing to sit down. Her beautiful black dress, shining faintly under the lights, costs a small fortune, and she refuses to get it dirty. I'm here to help. We appreciate it, replies Light. So, what's the deal with Beyond Birthday? Moji opens a blank document. Beyond has always been a little different. He has a lot of money, and he lives in some huge house. He isn't your typical model. Misa frowns. He's obsessed with death. That's odd, but not illegal. That doesn't make him L or one of L's associates. Soichiro scratches his chin thoughtfully. It might just be because of his parents. He says he knows L. He told us he knows L's real name. What? Matsuda flails his arms around in a comical fashion. Beyond said he's going to help L start a new world. He says that the new world will focus on righteousness and lawfulness. Misa tilts her head. He said he's going to meet L in person very soon. Did he give an exact date? Light can hear the desperation in his voice. He needs something to fall in place, something to show that this task force isn't a complete waste of time. Misa thinks about it for a few moments, unaware of the fact that this entire case may be hinging on her remembering a small detail. Misa has a horrible short-term memory. No, damn it. He only said sometime within this week. Misa pauses, looking at Light curiously. Well, he said something about seeing L when the sun finally shines. That doesn't make any sense. When the sun finally shines. Could he be speaking literally? The weather has been horrible. The weather is supposed to be sunny this weekend. It might, replies Light. Thank you, Misa-san. If Beyond asks you your thoughts on L, play it neutral. Misa winks at Light. That was the plan. Good. I don't want you to be in danger. Light can't help but worry about Misa. If Beyond finds out Misa came to them with information, he might hurt her. I won't be, promises Misa in a solemn tone. I have to get going. I need to get home before Mikami burns the house down. Of course. Light winces at the thought of Mikami being allowed near a stove. He watches her walk out the door. Have a safe trip. See you when you come home. Misa closes the door behind her. Light wishes he had as much confidence as she did. Light, what are you thinking? His father must have noticed a change in his expression. Beyond is going to search for L this weekend. Light walks over to his father's desk. I think Beyond is being rather literal. He's going to look for L when the weather is nice out. Do you think that he doesn't know exactly where L is? Moji stares at Light. How could he both know L yet not know where he is? Online communications, suggests Matsuda. No, if L doesn't use the news, he doesn't use social media. Light runs his tongue over his bottom lip. Maybe Beyond feels that he understands L's beliefs enough that he knows L. So Ichiro's phone rings, interrupting any further conversation. Yes, I understand. What does that mean though? I suppose that makes sense when you say it like that. I'll tell Light. Tell me what? Asks Light when his father hangs up the phone. Aizawa thinks there is a second L. Why? Because more inmates have started dying. Their deaths are horrifying, answers Soichiro. As in, setting themselves on fire and eating glass. Light groans. Great. 2 LS against 1 Kira. Sounds perfect. Bring it on, LS. Oh, L will have no choice but to love me, sings Beyond in a cheery tone. Are you crazy? Naomi asks as she floats behind him, giving him a skeptical look. Her disapproving tone does nothing to dampen Beyond's cheerful mood. Of course not, Naomi-san. Beyond looks away from the Shinigami, pulling his eyeliner out of his vanity drawer. He carefully applies it, satisfied when he looks like he just stepped out of an American alternative music video he's watched on MTV. Even if he must use protection when searching for L, he can still look fashionable. I am meant to be L's assistant. I even have the notebook as proof. You have the notebook because A died to save you, Beyond, replies Naomi in a bored tone. Something about her appearance is strikingly beautiful, almost as if she's more human than not. It's the coldness in her eyes, the razor-like claws, the dark wings, and the glow of her eyes that reveal she is a Shinigami. And she, unlike A, is not in love with him. You were destined to die. You should have been killed, but A intervened. Beyond gives her a grin. I know. And now, I can spend my days helping L. You are wasting a precious gift, tuts Naomi disapprovingly. Why are you so obsessed with L? Beyond pulls out a vivid red lipstick, noticing how similar the shade is to the color of blood. He takes the cap off, carefully applying the color on his lips. He likes that he appears to be covered in blood. Because he saved me. You wouldn't understand. Naomi let out a cold laugh. I suppose not. You are wasting your second chance at life to kill people. No god has struck me down yet, boasts Beyond in an arrogant tone. If any god were to exist, they cannot strike you down yet. A's sacrifice expanded your lifespan. You received A's remaining lifespan, replies Naomi. But one day, I will reap your soul. I will not save you, nor will I hesitate to do it. To me, you are another human, nothing special. Do not mistake me for A. Are you saying you don't love me? Beyond winks at her, offering her a flirtatious smile. I don't care what happens to you. I do not experience love for humans. Naomi's icy tone leaves no questions for her feelings on humanity. Is that because you can't have sex with us? Beyond let out a gentle sigh. That does sound awful. I know a lot of women who want to curl up next to me. That, begins Naomi, is because they are getting paid. I want nothing to do with your penis. That's mean, whines Beyond with a pout. I think it's rather nice. Good for you, answers Naomi, sounding thoroughly unimpressed. Fine. Your loss. Beyond clicks his tongue. Besides, I doubt L would like me to sleep with anyone. L doesn't know who you are. He doesn't care, assures Naomi. She continues to float near Beyond, although she looks like she would rather not be. For now. Beyond touches up his hair. For now. Soon, I'll be the only name he remembers. Beyond looks at himself in the mirror, checking himself for anything that could make L dislike him. His brown hair falls in front of his eyes, and Beyond wonders how much longer he has until MTV reaches out to him about starring in a music video for an alternative rock band. His makeup appears flawless. His crimson red eyes, a signature part of his modeling career, seem more intense. He has been using them for their intended use, seeing people's true names and lifespan. His lips curl into a truly horrifying grin when he realizes he didn't have to make a deal with the cold, ruthless Shinigami floating behind him. He checks his outfit for flaws. He finds that the black shirt with lace sleeves complements his figure, and the ripped skinny jeans give his ass prominence. He finds that he looks slightly inhuman, and he takes it as a sign that he was born to serve L. Come, Naomi-san. Beyond grabs his black satchel, tucking his death note in it. He stuffs his wallet, a pen, and a small umbrella in it. We should be going. I wouldn't want to keep L waiting. He's not waiting. Naomi stares at Beyond. He isn't expecting you. He doesn't know you, nor does he want to. You're so mean. Beyond walks out of his bedroom, closing the door behind him. He heads down the stairs, grabbing his house key off the small table by his stairs and shoving it in his pocket. I swear you want me to be miserable. You would deserve it, admits Naomi. You are a terrible person. You kill people for the fun of it. I'm doing it for L, snaps Beyond. If that is what you must tell yourself. Naomi raises her hands in surrender. Beyond slips on his black-heeled boots. I need to find him today. L needs to get a restraining order on you. I'll be very good to him. I'll be his most loyal servant and lover. Beyond is meant to be with L. The moment L killed his parents' murderer, he knew that L saw him, the individual. L felt Beyond's turmoil through whatever bond the universe created for them, and he chose to help Beyond. L's compassion spared Beyond a world of heartbreak. L gave Beyond hope, a reason to wake up in the morning. Before L came to light, Beyond felt that the world was beyond saving. He felt hopeless in his struggle against immorality, crime, and corruption. But now, he has a reason to have hope. L will save him and everyone else. L will save everyone, and Beyond will care for L. Naomi opens her mouth before closing it. Beyond steps outside the house, trying to soak up the sunshine. The sun may be shining, but the weather is still cold. He locks the door, headed down the street. He'll start off in the more crowded areas: bus stops, restaurants, tea houses, shopping strips, and popular streets. L must surely hang around in the crowded areas, watching over his people with reverence and adoration. Beyond walks down the sidewalks, his heels clacking on the ground. He could have taken his car, but he doesn't want to draw too much attention to himself. He wants to appear humble and modest, even if he isn't exactly either of those things. He would give up anything that L demands and embrace whatever title L deems him worthy of. After a short wait, he finds himself on a rather empty bus. The other passengers are preoccupied with their phones or the newspaper, and Beyond appreciates the silence. He stares at the window, enjoying the view. The small neighborhoods disappear, replaced by commercial buildings and crosswalks and large groups of teenagers. He gets off the bus on a busy street, surprised to find Naomi watching him from where she's crouching on the roof. Too bad she won't help me find L. If only A were my Shinigami. A would help me. Beyond walks in the direction of a coffee shop, finding himself in need of a strong coffee and a jelly-filled donut. He prays this one makes jelly donuts, suddenly finding himself longing for America. America had plenty of companies that made jelly-filled items. Sometimes Beyond finds himself missing the warm California sun and the cramped but welcoming house he grew up in before remembering the blood and guts of his parents spread all over. Besides, his modeling contract and L are here, in Japan. He walks in, ordering a large hot coffee and a jelly donut. He grabs several sugar packets before taking a seat at a table near the window. He watches the world outside with a hint of love and adoration. He notices a lot about the outside world. Children hold their parents' hands, teenagers laugh with each other about things only they could find funny, young couples smile at each other, and elderly couples walk together while looking at the world that they helped to create. L is doing this for them. Anyone who wants to stop L is an enemy of these people. A teenage girl brings Beyond's drink over, setting it on the table. She offers him a gracious bow before taking her leave. He checks her name and lifespan, thrilled to see that the girl has a long life ahead of her. She returns carrying his jelly donut on a fancy plate, setting it down before him. She disappears in a flurry of moment. Beyond adds the sugar packets to his coffee, taking a sip. He savors the warmth and sweetness, his fingers curling around the cup. Winter will be done soon enough, but the cold still occasionally bothers Beyond. He dresses in a more alternative fashion, and a jacket would ruin his current aesthetic. He wishes L was already with him. It'd be nice to cuddle with someone during the cold nights when Beyond lies awake, plagued by intrusive thoughts and gory images. He eats his donut slowly, savoring the taste. He could eat jelly on everything. He takes his leave, heading back out on the street. He wanders from one street to another, looking for L. He'll know when he sees L. Beyond won't be able to see L's lifespan, although he will be able to see L's real name. He looks in all the shops, surprised to find absolutely no leads. He ignores the man that's been following him for the last 3 blocks, unsure if he's a police agent or an obsessed stalker. Beyond has been walking around all day with no leads. He hurries into a ramen bar, ordering tonkotsu ramen after a few moments of contemplation. He wants something to eat before he heads home, and he wants that creepy guy away from him. He sees the man out of the corner of his eyes, although he's busy talking on the phone. The phone conversation ends quickly, and the man wanders up to the small desk in the front. Beyond loses sight of him, and he lets out a relieved sigh. He hopes L wasn't hiding from him. Beyond just wanted to find L and be with him. He isn't sure why the universe is treating him so unfairly. He's doing his part to create a better world. He sighs, trying to remain positive. Maybe L was out of town. L could have stayed at home all day, busy judging the wicked from the comfort of his own home. Beyond hopes that L doesn't have a family or lover already. Beyond thinks he would end it all if he found that out. Naomi surely wouldn't complain if Beyond died. Once Beyond is home, he's going to ruin the lives of so many criminals. So many people are going to die because Beyond couldn't have L. A man dressed in blue brings Beyond's food over. He savors the taste of pork, egg, warm noodles, and whatever else is in the ramen. The warmth of the broth soaks into his bones, offering him some relief from the cold that nipped at him. He hopes he can catch a bus home so he can avoid walking home in the cold. He finishes his dinner, flagging down his server so he can pay. He always tips, a very American thing that was ingrained into him by his parents. He notices the odd look the server gives him, but Beyond walks away before the server can ask. Beyond embraces most of the Japanese social customs and norms, but he still misses America dearly. He curses when he arrives at the bus stop and realizes that the last bus left when Beyond was still eating dinner. He could call his boss, the ruthless Mile Keel, to get him a ride home. He probably would do it, but Beyond found himself rather embarrassed by the whole situation. He isn't sure if Mile supports L, considering he goes by the alias of Mello and may be a part of the mob. Beyond could avoid telling Mello, but the man has a way of knowing. Mello knows a lot about people, and a large part of it is likely due to the clever car mechanic that always hangs around him. Male Jeeves owns Matt's auto body, and he overhears all sorts of things. Male is American like Beyond, although he answers to the name Matt Jeeves. Beyond likes Matt, but he always feels like Matt is mentally assessing him and waiting for the right time to strike and pick Beyond's brain apart. He resigns himself to walking home, ignoring the aches in the soles of his feet. He is tempted to take them off and walk barefoot through the streets. The streets are completely empty, so Beyond tentatively slips a shoe off. The pavement beneath his foot is far too cold, causing Beyond to violently shiver. He immediately put his shoe back on, unable to deal with the sudden coolness. He would take being uncomfortable over being cold, not to mention the dreadful texture of the sidewalk. He groans, softly cursing out the weather. He continues walking, determined not to let himself mope and wallow in self-pity. Naomi would surely laugh at him if he did, although he isn't sure where she even is. A loud bang from a side street causes Beyond's head to whip around. He clutches his satchel tightly to himself, preparing to yank out his death note and kill the cause of the sound. When a dirty hobo stumbles out of the darkness and into Beyond's field of vision, he chuckles to himself. He can kill this worthless piece of scum. The world doesn't need another diseased, useless beggar prowling the streets. This beggar, a thin, malnourished man with unkempt hair and unblinking eyes, is likely waiting for the perfect moment to strike Beyond down and rob him. He tilts his head at Beyond, a fearful look in his eyes. Something about him reminds Beyond of a dog, and Beyond always hated dogs. Besides, this is his chance to test out the notebook and see it work. He looks above the man's head and there's no lifespan. Beyond thinks, gasping. His heart races, only muscle and bone keeping it from bursting out of his chest. No, it can't be. That means God. Beyond falls to his knees, kneeling before L. He bows his head as a sign of respect, closing his eyes. He'll address him as Kami from now on. He mentally prays that the man didn't hear his previous thoughts. Kami, how pleased I am to meet you. I will be your most devoted servant. I will live for you. I would die for you. I'll do anything you ask. L. Loliot, the man with no lifespan, looks at him with a weary expression. I don't know what you're talking about. Loliot, I'll show you my notebook. You can meet my Shinigami. Beyond's head snaps up, and he pulls out the death note without another thought. Here, you can touch it. Loliot hesitates before touching it. Hello, Shinigami-san. Naomi offers L a curt nod. Beyond never noticed her creep behind him, and he wishes he could put a collar with a bell around her neck. Hello, I am Naomi. I know who you are, replies Naomi in a neutral tone. Hello, Wettery. There is no need for introductions. I have no desire to know you any further. Wettery. Fair enough, answers L. He stares at her for a few moments before turning his attention to Beyond. Who are you? I'm Beyond Birthday. Okay, replies L in a slow, hesitant voice. Why exactly are you here? I've been looking for you, replies Beyond. I'm devoted to your cause. Okay. L gives him a blank stare. Can I do anything to assist you? Questions Beyond, licking his lips. I could serve you in a multitude of ways. You wouldn't be the first guy I've slept with, although you'd definitely be the last. That's quite alright, says L, a baffled look on his face. Under all the filth, Beyond can see the outline of a very handsome man. Is there any way that I could use your shower or bath? Of course. You must give me enough time to prepare. Beyond needs everything to be perfect. He needs to get rid of explicit magazine he leaves laying around, and he needs to make sure the place is sparkling. I'll even get you some new clothes. I'll prepare a room for you. You can live with me. L quirks his lip up. Okay, I'll follow you. No, not tonight. Huh. L began sucking on his thumb, and Beyond found the gesture oddly endearing. Why not? Well. Beyond pauses, taking a deep breath. Surely Kami will be forgiving. My place is simply not up to your standards. I am literally living on the streets. L continues sucking on his thumb. Please. Loliot-san, I'll come for you on Monday. I promise. Beyond steps up to Loliot, wrapping his fingers around the man's face. He takes L's thumb from his mouth and pulls him into an awkward kiss. I'll be back. L scowls at him before gaining a neutral expression. I suppose if you must return, I'll see you then. I will. Oh Beyond. Yeah. Beyond thinks about how soft L's lips are. He wishes he could sink his teeth into L's lower lip and leave behind a mark. The more Beyond thinks about it, the more he'd like L to sink his teeth into his collarbone and bite down as hard as he can. L's servant should be marked, should be willing to bear L's signature in their skin. He is L's now, in every way possible. If anyone suspects that you're L number 2, surrender your death note. L turns and walks away from him. I would hate to see you get hurt. Oh L, fawns Beyond in a giddy tone. See Naomi? He loves me. Beyond, you should really ask before you suddenly kiss people, scolds Naomi, giving Beyond an unimpressed look. I don't really care if you get caught. But if you start assaulting people, I'll put you down like the dog that you are. I just kissed him. Beyond tilts his head at her. You're not a human. You wouldn't understand. Don't start, snaps Naomi. Oh, Naomi-san, you think much too narrowly. You waste your time thinking of a singular flaw. This is why you are not ahead in life. Beyond strolls out of the alleyway, looking over his shoulder to see L stumble off. You waste so much potential. I am only here because I have to be. I am not your friend, nor am I someone you can manipulate. I can kill you at any moment. Naomi glares at Beyond, causing him to squirm. You miss important details. You never checked for cameras before that interaction. Who is Wattery? I mean, like. Be quiet, orders Naomi in a no-nonsense tone. You are a fool. Nothing more than a scared little boy pretending to be a man. I'm sorry. Something about her scolding causes Beyond to be filled with shame. He wishes he could crawl out of his skin. I didn't mean to do anything bad. Naomi looks through him, as if she's analyzing him in ways he cannot comprehend. You should go home and rest. You're right, responds Beyond, slightly unnerved by her stare. He feels completely powerless when he's near her. He is a human, one that should be dead. He has bones that can be broken, muscles that can give out, cells that can divide incorrectly, and other organic matter that can be altered or destroyed. Naomi, on the other hand, might be invincible. Thank you, Naomi-san. Should I call you Birthday-kun? She looks at him with a deadpan expression. Birthday-kun. She stares at him with her glowing red eyes, standing completely still. You always address me with Japanese honorifics. I assumed that since you were American, you wouldn't want to be addressed with such titles. I think I assumed incorrectly. I mean, you can if you want to. Beyond walks away from where L was standing, ignoring the aching in his chest. But don't address me using kun. I'm not a boy. But you are. You are just a boy. Naomi gives him a smile, and he can't tell if it's genuine or the smile a predator gives its prey before attacking. I have been alive for eons. I have seen empires rise and fall. I have seen the creation of tools and the destruction that humanity has brought upon itself. So to me, you are just a boy. A very selfish, hateful boy, but a boy nonetheless. How can you say those things about me? Beyond tries not to pout, but Naomi's words sting. She sounds so much like his mother. Those words are the truth. You don't want to face it. Naomi gives him a pitying look. It's not all your fault. You are alone in this incredibly harsh world. You had to survive. That can make you incredibly harsh. But still, you cannot change the truth. Maybe. Beyond isn't sure if he is supposed to answer her. He has no answer. By the way, you are aware of the fact that someone has been tailing you since you left the restaurant, right? Oh fuck. Chapter 4, A Simple Mistake. Hey Beyond. How was your weekend? Misa waves at him, offering him a cheery grin. You can come in. You can close the door behind you too. He does rather like Misa, finding her stupidity almost endearing. The harsh, ruthless world of modeling makes everyone hesitant to make friends, afraid to find themselves attached to their competition. In a world of betrayal and pettiness, Misa seems genuine. She always tries to make him feel included, even if her actions have gotten her shunned by the other shallow, brainless models. He isn't actually sure how to approach her and talk to her, afraid of scaring her away. He takes a deep breath, allowing himself to take a seat near her. It wasn't too bad, admits Beyond, trying not to sound overly excited. How was yours? Misa finishes applying her lipstick, setting the tube back down on her vanity. Melo-san called me over the weekend. Apparently my other agent quit? Melo-san found me another agent, but I'm not sure how competent he is. Oh, Beyond isn't exactly surprised. Melo knows a lot of people, but they aren't always good people. Can I ask what the issue is? Matsui-san, have you finally found me an outfit that matches yet? Misa could go model in her pink silk nightgown and still look better than everyone else in the room. You've been in that closet for over an hour. Oh, yikes, mutters Beyond in an apologetic tone. Is that why you're still hiding in your dressing room? Yeah, Misa sighs. I think I'll have to reschedule my photo shoot. I'm trying to stay positive. Maybe he's just nervous. I'd like to think this is due to nerves rather than incompetence. You are kinder than me, Misa-chan, replies Beyond in an affectionate tone. Misa, calls out a cheery voice. The man freezes when he spots Beyond. I mean, Misa-san. Forgive me, I have found you an outfit. Matsui-san, please meet my friend, Beyond Birthday. Misa gestures to Beyond. He's American, so his first name is Beyond. His childish face lights up, a friendly grin appearing. With his floppy hair and friendly demeanor, Beyond understands why he was assigned to Misa. Beyond notices that the name above his head, Matsuda Tauta, doesn't match the name he gave Misa. Part of Beyond wonders if he's trying to hide something, or if he, like many others in the modeling industry, takes on alias to protect himself. Birthday-san, it is an honor to meet you. I am Matsui, Misa's new manager. Nice to meet you, answers Beyond in a polite tone. Something about Matsui feels off, but he can't put a finger on it. Besides, if he leaves, he will definitely hurt Misa's feelings. He wants a second opinion on the prospect of a relationship with L, and Misa is the only other homosexual Beyond knows. He doesn't have the time to meet other homosexuals, much less explain everything to them. How long have you represented celebrities for? Well, Misa-san is my first client. The man claps his hands together. What did you do before this? Beyond squints his eyes, causing the man to shudder slightly. Well, I what? Questions Beyond. You mustn't tell anyone, but I used to work at the homosexual club, admits Matsui. That's fine. What's a Japanese term for it? Beyond tilts his head. Ryotadzukai. Does that make sense to you? You like women and men, correct? Asks Matsui. Yeah, I've visited the homosexual clubs more than once. Beyond would tell that to anyone who asked. You look like a twink, to be honest. Beyond, scolds Misa. What? Cries Beyond, flailing his arms around. It was a compliment. I wasn't offended. Matsui offers Beyond a kind smile. You are a rather beautiful man. Surely you don't have to visit those sort of clubs often? You must have someone. Well what? Misa raises an eyebrow, smiling. Oh my, did you find him? Find who? Asks Matsui in a confused voice. He cocks his head. Who are we talking about? L. Beyond lets out a dreamy sigh. Even now, he can feel L's lips on his, a reminder that the other day was real. Like, the killer one. I wouldn't call him that, snaps Beyond, anger pooling in his stomach. He refuses to let anyone slander L's reputation, especially since Beyond now knows him. Beyond contributes to L's cause, not that Matsui or Misa know about Beyond being the second L. He's a hero. He is exactly what this world needs. Of course. Matsui hangs his head shamefully. The company I was hired through said that if we were ever forced to talk about L, it must be in a negative manner. Something about losing profits and driving away potential customers if we supported L. What a bunch of cowards. Beyond shakes his head in disgust. If he had it his way, he would whip out his death note and exterminate everyone at that godless, corrupt company. Tell me then, Matsui-san, how do you really feel about L? Matsui checks to make sure the door is shut before leaning between Beyond and Misa. I think that L is changing the world. The first L is merciful and kind, creating a world that offers forgiveness. The second L is angry, a ruthless force seeking to destroy any and all criminals. Well, I suppose there isn't officially a second Kira, but things feel different. Anyways, I think the world should follow the example of the first L's forgiveness, even if the second L's harshness is needed to create an everlasting utopia. That's a very insightful answer. Beyond isn't sure he trusts Matsui's answer. It seems rehearsed. I must admit something. Matsui offers him a grim smile. IOL my life. Wait, really? Misa lets out an outraged gasp. Matsui-san, you can't just say that. You owe us the whole story. One night, when I was leaving work, begins Matsuda in calm tone, I was attacked. I wasn't too badly hurt, but the man said he'd find me again. He said that my kind should be exterminated and that he was carrying out a divine plan. I went to the police and filed a report, but they said they couldn't find him. I'm not even sure they looked. I was terrified that he was going to find me and kill me. I turned the news on a few weeks later. Nate River, one of my favorite reporters, read off a list of L's victims and showed their faces. The man who attacked me was one of those victims. For the first time in weeks, I finally felt safe. I let out a breath of relief. I was safe now, thanks to L. I have no idea how he learned about that disgusting vermin, but I remember crying out of joy. L did what the police could not or didn't want to do. Wow, I'm glad you're safe now, Matsui-san, whispers Misa, pulling the man into a hug. I'm sorry for doubting your faith in L, admits Beyond. He would rather play it safe when it comes to trusting people. I just wanted to be sure. There's so many posers out there. It's better to be safe than sorry. Matsui offers Beyond an understanding smile. Misa pulls off her silk robe, paying no attention to the guys in her dressing room. She puts on the long, sparkly black dress Matsui picked out for her. She slips on the nylon socks, sliding her foot into the heeled boots he pulled out of the closet. I'm sure Beyond understands. The fashion and modeling world is full of posers. I did, admits Beyond in a soft voice. I met L. I finally found him. Misa gasps. How? Where? Leave out no details. Beyond thinks of the shady street, home to countless lost individuals. L's lips were on his, and everything felt right. The night air was cold, and Beyond was sure his cheeks had been rosy. He tries to think of other important details from that night. L had smelled of sweat, a faintly sweet smell lingering on him. The world had seemed much smaller, much quieter in that moment. Everything had been wonderful. How can I even begin to explain? I found him. I thought for sure I would never find him, but I saw him down this creepy alleyway. I knew it was him. Beyond starts feeling incredibly lightheaded. He was so beautiful. The night was cold, but his lips were incredibly warm. I never wanted a man to fuck me more than I did when I laid eyes on him. I cannot explain what I was feeling. I met God on a street I walked by thousands of times. How can I even explain that without sounding crazy? Oh Beyond? That's so beautiful. Who's Misa? I kissed him. I knew, in that moment, that we were meant to be. Beyond's eyes flutter. I'm supposed to go get him today, after I leave here. He's going to live with me. Together, we'll create a new, fair world. I hope so, replies Matsui in a dreamy tone. His eyes flutter close. I've been dreaming of a better world since childhood. All sorts of corrupt adults told me that greed and immortality were unavoidable. They lied. They are cowards. I refuse to take such a terrible path. I would rather die. Purrs Misa in agreement. Imagine a world without all these awful people. A world where we aren't afraid to walk alone at night. A world where we know the children are safe. A world without corrupt politicians and cops. A world for those worthy of it. You understand the vision perfectly, praises Beyond, barely able to control his excitement. He wants his friend by his side. You'll be a wonderful asset in the new world. I sure hope so. Misa offers him a charming smile, one that causes him to turn to mush. She is his first friend, and he wants her approval badly. You're doing wonderful things. Beyond could melt from the compliment. Thank you, Misa-chan. Of course. Beyond. Mello's loud voice interrupts the sweet, perfect moment. The warmth Beyond currently feels, however, won't be forgotten. Coming, Mello-san, responses Beyond, trying to hide his disappointment. He wants to live in this moment for eternity. Goodbye, I'll see you later. Misa blows him a kiss. Have fun with Mello-san. It was nice meeting you. Matsui offers him a goodbye wave. L, my darling, screeches Beyond, wiggling his arms around. I'm so happy to see you. L cringes away from him, finding Beyond absolutely repulsive. Beyond scares him. He's obsessed with L. Beyond already forcefully kissed him once. L wants to follow Beyond to his house, but he's afraid Beyond is going to demand things in return. L doesn't want Beyond to caress him, to touch him and pepper his skin with gentle kisses. He doesn't want Beyond to expect to touch him. He doesn't want Beyond to fuck him or expect to be fucked by L. Beyond thinks L wants him. L has never had to deal with this before. No one has ever desired L before. No one wanted a homeless, mentally ill man. People have always looked at L with disgust, although a few foreigners looked at him with something akin to pity. Beyond looks at him with a deep, raw hunger that scares L. Beyond wants to pounce on him and tear him apart. He wants L to love him, to desire him back. Beyond wants them to be a thing. Beyond wants them to rule together. L, on the other hand, is half tempted to write his name in the death note and move on. Beyond. L tries to keep his tone neutral. Where is Naomi? I don't know, nor do I care. Does she leave your side often? L tilts his head to the side. Wattery, for the most part, doesn't leave his side. He provides L with food, blankets, and whatever else he needs. He can't imagine having a Shinigami that left. Yeah, she doesn't like me. Beyond shrugs his shoulder. Naomi is a bitch though, so it's fine. I don't want to see her more than I have to. Oh, I don't feel that way. L loves Wattery. I'm rather fond of mine. Beyond gave him a lopsided smile. It's because you're lovable. Am I though? You barely know me. L, someone followed him. Wattery points at the alleyway entrance. He flies above the alleyway. Were you followed? L raises an eyebrow. Tell me. No, cries Beyond. I wouldn't do that to you. I swear. They are policemen, replies Wattery, flying back down. They have their faces covered. They are all armed. Oh fuck, mutters L. What's wrong? That's right. He can't see Wattery. Beyond, the cops followed you, answers L. He steps away from Beyond slowly. You should surrender your death note. Trust me, I'll do it, for you. L pays no further attention, his eyes focused on the slowly approaching police officer. No, the many slowly approaching police officers. His only priority is his life. Wattery cannot be hurt, but L can easily be injured. He has to remain rational and see if he gain any more information. Perhaps if he can gain enough information, he can manipulate the cops into leaving him alone. They can do what they please with Beyond. One leads the pack. His L is around 99% certain the figure is male face hidden behind a face shield. He wears a bulletproof vest, and L wonders if they're only here for Beyond. He wears a pair of black dress shoes and black slacks, which L imagines is the standard police officer uniform. L never really liked the police, so he never exactly researched their outfits. He regrets that a little now. The man has a gun in his belt, and L knows it's loaded without any real proof. He approaches them slowly. He suspects one, if not both of us, to be Kira. That's why his face is hidden. They also have no idea how we kill, which explains why there is a gun. L frowns. If they suspect I'm Kira, there won't be any convincing them otherwise. My safest bet is to be compliant and docile. Then again, do they suspect such a reaction from L? Damn it. Lolliot, I have made the death note disappear. They can search all they want, reassures Wattery, nodding at L. You probably won't be able to talk to me anymore. But I'll be by your side, watching over you. If Birthday Kun becomes an issue, I'll deal with him. L nods his head. Beyond Birthday-san and companion, put your hands in the air. You are both being arrested under suspicion that you are both L. Officers start flooding in from the other side of the alley. L crouches down on the ground, putting his hands in the air. He's trying to appear weak and feeble. He needs them to believe he isn't L, the world's most infamous mass murderer. He hates to think of the rope that would dangle around his neck, the guns pointed at him, the electricity surging through the chair, or the poison being injected into his veins. If L remembers correctly, the death sentence in Japan is carried out via hanging. He shudders when he imagines his thin body dangling in the air, his body on display for an unknown audience. If it came down to it, he could ask Watari to kill him before it got to that point. Why are you doing this? Beyond cries, thrashing around as the officers arrest him. I'm innocent? You have no base for these claims. We overheard your conversation with Amina-san and Matsui-san. That conversation alone is enough to get you executed. You implicated your friend through that conversation. L scowls. He quickly wipes the expression away, choosing to silently sulk while the officer handcuffs him with more roughness than necessary. That fucking idiot. What did he say? Excuse me. Beyond continues thrashing around. How the fuck did you find out about that? And get your hands off me, you fucking heathen. After a moment's silence, the officer answers. We suspected you were Kira due to various comments in recent interviews. We wiretapped Amina-san's dressing room, your dressing room, and the lunchroom. We've already apprehended Amina-san and Matsui-san. You bastards. Beyond tries to bite the arresting officer, earning him a shove to the ground. Enough? Bring the blindfolds. Are you arresting me, or are we going to the BDSM club? Snarls Beyond, wiggling around to get free. Birthday-san, knock it off. L tries to keep his voice even. You said something that made them think you're L. Please stop before you get hurt. Beyond's chest heaves, but he doesn't dare fight with L. If he surrendered his note like L asked, then he must have some sort of attachment to L still. Perhaps he retains his deep respect for L without a clear reason. L isn't sure if that'll help his case or work against him. I'm going to sue whoever is responsible for this. Have fun suing yourself, replies the officer. He takes the blindfold from another officer's fingers, wrapping it around Beyond. L soon finds himself in a similar situation, his world now dark. When the officer yanks him off the ground, he struggles to find his footing, stumbling over his own limbs. He trips over his own leg, sending him tumbling to the ground. The officer merely picks him back up, unaware of the tears forming in L's eyes. What should I do now? Should I remain docile and compliant, or does that behavior seem to L like? Would the most infamous mass murderer play along with cops and act overly nice? What am I supposed to do? L is me, and I am him. How can I not know what the very thing I created would do? Perhaps I was too harsh judging the Christian God after all. Being a creator and playing your role is far from easy. What are you going to do with us? L asks, deciding any normal person would ask about their fate. Asking a simple question cannot implicate L as the L. We are going to let Japan's best detective and criminal profiler assess you. The officer pauses. Once he's done with you, there will be nothing left behind. He earned his title. Oh fuck. Birthday-san is in room 16, and his companion is in room 29. I kept them both in blindfolds, as you requested. Moji offers Light a small bow. Thank you, Moji-san. You may take a break if you wish. Light turns his attention to everyone else. Shall we begin? Sure, replies Matsuda with a charming grin. I just can't talk to Beyond because of the stunt we pulled, which I still think is really cool. The stunt had been incredibly risky, and Light had debated throwing the idea away more than once. Beyond said increasingly more bizarre and implicating statements to Misa through a phone call on Sunday, and she told Light. An idea had been born, send in a member of the L task force to protect Misa and get enough evidence to arrest Beyond. Light had expected the mission to take a few days at minimum, but Beyond said everything Light needed in under an hour. From there, the remaining members of the task force, along with a few other cops, ambushed Beyond and the other man, who Beyond claimed was L. Everyone was told to make sure Beyond believes Misa and Matsuda are under investigation, all to prevent Beyond from learning the truth and killing them. Of course, Matsuda-san. Light turns around to face the computer that's connected to room 16. Without further ado, he presses the microphone on the desk. Hello Birthday-san. I have some questions for you. Fuck off. Beyond wiggles around in his straitjacket, although he fails to accomplish anything. Even if he got out of it, he's in a padded room that is behind a locked door. His room and his companion's room were renovated to be padded room, a measure for when they needed to interrogate L. When are you going to let me out of this? When you behave, answers Light, taking a drink of his iced coffee. You're currently being aggressive and hostile. You will remain in that jacket until you stop trying to harm yourself and others. Are we clear? Fuck you. Beyond continues thrashing around. Light sighs. We'll start with a simple, straightforward question. Are you L? Beyond stops moving, becoming still. It's unnerving for more reasons than one. He blindly searches for the camera, his eyes still hidden behind the blindfold. If I was, I wouldn't tell you. Fine. Light pinches the bridge of his nose. Do you know who L is? Beyond gives him a cruel, twisted smile. No, but if I did, you best believe I'd be on my knees, sucking him dry. That's disgusting. Aizawa curls his lip up in disgust. Who would say that about a mass murderer? Get a grip. Excuse me, repeats Light. Allow me to rephrase, since you didn't understand. Light hates the look on Beyond's face. I'd be on my knees every day, sucking him off. I'd get on my hands and knees and let him fuck me from behind whenever he wanted. I'd let him tie me up and... Thank you. I understand the situation now perfectly. Light rolls his eyes. He likes men too, but he cannot imagine wanting to have sex with a mass murderer. How do you know L is your type? I hate to be a stereotype, but I'm a bit of a free spirit. Beyond laughs for a few moments. I didn't need much enticing to star in those porn movies, trust me. I knew he was a porn star, cries Matsuda in an almost giddy voice. Matsuda, chides Soichiro in an irritated voice. My apologies, Yagami-san. Carry on. What if L was heterosexual? With the amount of drama and sheer mystery surrounding him, Beyond tries his best to throw his head back and cackle. Straight men wish they could be him. This is going nowhere. Time to try the other guy, whose name no one knows. Thank you, Birthday-san. Light disconnects the microphone. I want a drug test done on him. Ida-san, check and see if he had a psychiatric evaluation done at any point. I'll check. IDE hunches over the computer. I'm starting with suspect 2. Light switches his attention to the other suspect. He clicks the microphone. Hello. I have a few questions for you. The man says nothing, lying completely still. With his pale complexion and dark hair spread in every direction, he looks as though he could be dead. His clothes appears torn and dirty, and Aizawa complained that he smelled funky. Even though he has the ability to move around, he took off the blindfold and remains still. If he's L, he is definitely the first one. What's your name? He turns to face the camera, his expression blank. You could be L. I'm not telling you. I'm not L. I'm Kira, and I'm helping to lead the L investigation. Light chooses his words carefully. I need your name so we can run a background check. L. Loliot, he replies in a bored tone. L as in the mass murderer. No, I unfortunately share a letter with the murderer, answers Loliot in a cool tone. Have you ever had sex with Beyond Birthday? No. Loliot's nose scrunches up. Nor do I want to. Has he ever shown a sexual interest in you? Light asks in a neutral tone. Beyond wants to have an intimate relationship with L, and he isn't shy about the matter. Loliot may unknowingly reveal something important. I mean, he forcefully kissed me once. Loliot grimaces. I didn't ask if he wanted to have sex with me. I don't want him getting any ideas. How did you meet Beyond? Light wants to bang his head against the desk when he realizes he forgot to add the honorific. The creep approached me at night. He came down the alley where I was, and he proclaimed that I was L. He refused to listen. He kissed me. Are you L, the mass murderer? No. Do you know who L is? Probably Beyond Birthday, answers Loliot, a disgusted look on his face. He's definitely creepy. He can't take a no for answer. Trust me. I know Beyond is L number 2, but are you number 1? Beyond seems to think that you are L. He told us, lies Light, hoping to cause a rift between them. If Loliot admits that he is Kira, he'll throw Beyond under the bus too. I thought Beyond's parents taught him not to lie, but I'm not exactly surprised by his lack of honesty. He is rather impolite. L cocks his head. If I was L, I think I would have killed him by now. Personal vendetta, asks Light. I just can't stand him, answers L as he shrugs his shoulder. I have a question for you. Shit. Light grits his teeth. Sure. Can I get some food? I'm hungry. L licks his lips. I guess. Light wants to bangs his head into the desk until he becomes a part of it. He expected that things wouldn't go perfectly, but he isn't making any progress. Do you have any allergies? Nope. Loliot's lips curl into a smile. I don't really like meat, but I do like sugar. We'll work on getting you dinner. Light disconnects the microphone from Loliot's room. Anything, Ida-san. Nothing, replies IDE in a gloomy tone. I hacked into the hospital database. He did go a few months ago for a slight injury from a fall of some sort. The report says he was attacked. Really? Yes, but the online file contains limited information. He frowns, typing on the computer furiously. Most hospital data is still kept on paper. Technology is expensive, and hospital programs are iffy at best. I understand. Light stares at the two screens in front of him, studying Loliot and Birthday. For right now, they're secure. I have an idea. Yes, son. We keep them in confinement until L strikes. If L strikes while they are in there, I will remove Loliot from confinement. I will chain him to me to observe him. Light stares at Beyond. Birthday can stay in there. He's definitely L and a danger to everyone, himself included. Light. Light smiles at his father. I know. You don't want me in danger. I will only do it if L strikes. I must learn how L works. Do you believe Loliot-san is L? Matsuda asks, fluttering to Light's side. He seems so docile. A very L thing to do, replies Light in a neutral tone. I am rather sure he is L, despite having incredibly limited proof. As much as it pains me to say, I believe Beyond may be unable to implicate Loliot. Beyond is far from the picture of mental sanity and clarity. Therefore, trusting him to be honest is out of the picture. However, Loliot is different. He seems oddly calm, almost like he expected that this would happen. If Birthday-kun is the second L, no wonder Loliot-san prepared, mutters Aizawa with an eye roll. Birthday-kun is definitely a liability. L may be unable to choose his assistants. L would not willing pick Beyond Birthday as an assistant. Beyond is, at best, an active liability. From what Misa said, he's always been hot-tempered. And extremely clean, if that matters. I looked through some databases. L. Loliot has never had a job, no driver's license, no degree of any sort, and no permanent address. The only information I can obtain about him is through a non-profit orphanage. He was left at age 10 on the orphanage's porch, no note left behind. He ran away at age 11, says IDE as he continues to stare at the screen. It says that the man who ran the orphanage, Roger Irving, set himself on fire 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Light scratches his chin. Why did Lolliot run away? Is that a polite question to ask? Light continues thinking to himself. Why did he set himself on fire? I have no doubt that this is the work of L, perhaps even L Lolliot. But why fire? Is there something I'm missing? Is L trying to leave us a message? Is it possible L did it to be sadistic? Between both suspects, I believe Lolliot did it, but he usually isn't that violent. Did the orphanage report any fires? Asks Light after a moment's silence. Why would that matter? Questions Aizawa, lighting a cigarette. He always smokes inside, uncaring of the stench that lingers in the air after he's done. Because Roger burned alive. That's a very personal death. And our little pal Lolliot-san knows him, answers Light in a patient tone. The man may be his father's officer, but he's still short-tempered. Light doesn't exactly trust him not to fly off the handle. Perhaps L picked fire for a reason. A girl burned to death in Roger's care, answers IDE with a grimace. From the online news archive, it appears that a little 4-year-old girl, Hallie Linder, died in a fire. It was suspected that Irving was drinking when the fire broke out, but I guess they never tested him. This happened before L ran away. Well, I can't say the bastard didn't deserve it. Aizawa puffs on his cigarette. Only a sick bastard would put children in harm. Light clicks on the microphone connected to Lolliot's room. Do you know a Roger Irving? Lolliot sits up, staring at the camera with a blank look. Yes. How did you know him? Light wants to see if he'll answer honestly. This entire interview is a game, a test to see who makes a mistake first. I was an orphan. He ran an orphanage. Lolliot's tone sends cold chills up Light's spine. And allow me to answer the questions you have that are considered socially impolite. Roger was drunk the night that fire happened. He was an alcoholic. The fire was entirely his fault. I'm glad he's dead. He deserved to die. Any questions I forgot? Did you kill him? If I did, I think I would have made it much worse. Light knows Lolliot means every word. That bastard deserved a much, much worse death. A very L response, comments Light, a small smile blooming in his face. Your sense of justice is very similar to L's. You must not believe in second chances. I do, actually, corrects L in an almost gentle tone. It surprises Light. I believe that most people do deserve a second chance. Interesting. Mikami said something about L sparring certain criminals. I didn't get much time to look into that, but I'll improvise. I think I'm finally getting somewhere. How do you, Lolliot-san, determine if people deserve a second chance? Light will compare his answers to the victims L spares. He thinks that they'll match. I check and see if their name is Roger Irving. If their name is Roger Irving, they don't deserve a second chance. Lolliot grins at the camera. That's how I do it. He saw through that question. I need to reword it. Excluding him, I mean, corrects Light in a smug tone. You cannot get out of answering this question without looking guilty. I don't judge people. I'm not God. Lolliot lets out a very soft giggle. Light would never admit it to anyone, but it sounded sort of cute. Or a judge. He knows how to dance around that question but still managed to answer it. He should have been a politician. Unfortunate. I was hoping to have a philosophical conversation. Light sighs. He was interested in what Lolliot was going to say. I would require a very nice date before that would happen, Kira-san. Lolliot offers him a shark-like grin. And a nice shower. I'll work on getting you a shower, promises Light, pointedly ignoring the jab about a date. No date. Lolliot feigns disappointment. Unfortunate. You're lost though. Don't worry. We'll be hanging out plenty. If Light is right, which he knows he is, Lolliot will be dangling from a rope in one of Japan's beautiful cities. He isn't sure why, but the image suddenly causes his stomach to twist. I'll have someone bring you dinner. Good night, Lolliot-san. Light, are you okay? Soichiro hurries to his son's side when Light disconnects the speaker to his room. Yeah, I'm just starting to feel unwell. It's all that coffee, chides Soichiro. I'll bring you home. Your mom can make you some homemade soup. As much as Light yearns for his mother's comforting words and warm hugs, he cannot go back to his childhood home. He can't watch dramas on television with Seo until this case is solved. After everything here is done, he'll go back to the house he shares with his dearest friends and visit his family. That's okay. I'm afraid motion will make me sick. Light-kun, you should go rest. You never take breaks. Matsuda offers Light a concerned look. Light knew he was right in thinking that Matsuda could be a friend. You're right. I think I'll go to my room and sleep. Can someone make sure L gets dinner? Of course. His father waves him away. See you tomorrow morning. Light-san, you might want to come see this, whispers Matsuda in an urgent tone. He beckons Light to follow him with a hand gesture. Light gets out of his chair, his body stiff from sitting in it for so long. He's been watching, interrogating, and trying to understand his suspects for 2 weeks. He has a good understanding of some things. Beyond will curse everyone out. Lolliot will politely answer all of Light's question with a grace Matsuda swears is found in upper-class families. Beyond will ask about Lolliot, and Lolliot will say how much he despises Beyond. Since they've been detained, only 2 inmates have died from heart attacks, and Light thinks it might not have been L's work. Light follows Matsuda into the next door room, seeing everyone crowded around a television. Reporting live. Light smiles to himself when he sees Takeda on the television, dressed in a red shirt and black pencil skirt. Light is almost positive the shirt belongs to Misa. This morning, at approximately 8 o'clock, 13 inmates died of a heart attack at a facility in Tokyo. Prison officials seem to believe that this is the work of L. Aizawa changes the channel without a word. We've also received reports of 10 deaths at Bang Kwang Central Prison in Thailand. Officials in Thailand say that they are working to determine if L is responsible. All of the individuals were arrested on drug charges. The news reporter gives her unseen audience a smile. Thailand officials are expected to release an official statement later today. Aizawa changes the channel again. L never left us, folks. Officials around the globe tried to cover up L's judgment to discourage us from seeking the truth. We should hold our leaders responsible for this crime. L is our one true god. The talk show host, who Light immediately recognizes as Nate River, stares at the camera longingly. He's one of L's biggest supporters, and he always talks about L on his daily talk show. L, if you're watching, we, the true and good people, support you. When we come back, we'll be discussing all of L's judgments for this month. Before we head to commercials, feel free to go to our website at www.natetriverstruth.org and subscribe to our free paper so you can stay informed about L. Why do all of L's supporters sound like they want to suck his dick so badly? Aizawa rolls his eyes. Light, how do you wish to proceed from here? Soichiro gives his son a pat on the shoulder. He gives Aizawa a look that says they'll discuss that comment later. Light doesn't know what to say. He knows, without so much as a single doubt, that Beyond Birthday and L Loliot are L. He lacks proof, the one thing he really needs. He has enough evidence to convict Beyond, but he has no real proof that Loliot did anything wrong. In fact, Loliot seems more than willing to cooperate with the team. He thought for sure that things were going perfectly, but this report indicates otherwise. He could ignore it, saying it was the work of a devoted L follower. He can't let go of L Loliot, not when he knows he's right about him being L. He just needs more time to figure out how L kills people and to get some evidence. I know Loliot-san is L. The conviction in Light's tone surprises everyone. However, I will follow my word. I will bring Loliot-san out of confinement, and I will think of a way for us to be bonded together. Birthday-san, on the other hand, can remain where he is. He still tries to kick and bite. However, I will allow Matsuda-san to talk to him through a cell phone. Birthday-san must believe you are also still in confinement. Matsuda grins. Of course. I'll feign innocence about Misa's whereabouts, claiming I was told they released her under an agreement. I don't know what it is, only that it must be awful. Very good. Light's gentle praise surprises the room. You must all address me as Kira or Yagami. Don't call me Light. I will find a way to bind L to me, and he cannot find out my first name. I think he needs my full name to kill me. Binding. Matsuda licks his lip. What about handcuffs? Light tries not to blush at the idea of having another man handcuffed to him. Light likes the idea of bondage, although he isn't sure if he'd like to be tied up or if he'd like to be the one doing the tying. He knows that the handcuffs wouldn't be a sexual thing, but his suspect is rather attractive, and Light has been trying to repress any sort of sexual urges because the walls are paper thin. Oh god. Does that mean we'll have to sleep together? What about the bathroom? God, please don't let him have a piss kink. That's an idea, mutters Light. It's definitely an idea. I suppose it works though. You don't have to do this, Light. I understand if you decide to release him under a set of terms. No, father. I am correct. I will be seeing this through. Light offers his father a thin, feeble smile. Matsuda-san and Aizawa-san, please go get Loliot-san. Father, please find me a set of handcuffs with a longer chain. Of course, replies Aizawa with a salute. Light heads back into the other room, walking up to the microphone connected to Loliot's room. He clicks it, leaning forward. Loliot-san, 2 officers are coming to get you. They'll be down to your room in a few minutes. What did I do? Loliot gives Light a pleading look. I've answered all your questions? I've done everything you've asked. I think it's time we meet, face to face. Light clasps his hands. I'll be waiting. Oh. Loliot's mouth opens in surprise. Well, I look forward to meeting you. I'm sure you do, L. I'm sure you do. Light turns the microphone off, humming to himself. He supposes he should talk to Beyond. He clicks that microphone. Good morning, Beyond-san. Kira. Beyond gives the camera a tired look. He finally behaved well enough that Light felt the straitjacket and blindfold could come off, but he's still incredibly aggressive. Beyond couldn't stay in constant restraints for too long without serious health consequences, and Light finds himself unwilling to cause Beyond to develop muscle atrophy or any other ailments. I am going to ask you a few questions. If you give me a proper answer, I'll give you a reward in return. A reward. Beyond licks his lips. Is it strawberry jam? It can be, replies Light in a confused tone. He'll have to send someone to the store. Now, how did you come to the conclusion Loliot was L? I did not. Loliot isn't L. Beyond has a bewildered look on his face. I don't know why I said those things that morning. I think I was having an episode of some sort. Do you often experience those sort of episodes? Light figured Beyond had a mental illness of some sort. He wonders if Beyond stopped taking his medication. Suddenly stopping psychotropic medications can have incredibly severe side effects, and Beyond's episode could meet the criteria. Maybe. I don't really remember. Beyond tilts his head. I felt really strange that day. I felt giddy, almost. Do you regularly take any medications? I should have asked him that earlier. I'm responsible for his care. Even if he is ill, I shouldn't deprive him of his medicine. That might be why he was so aggressive and is slowly getting better. His medications are leaving his system. I don't know. Maybe. Were you diagnosed with any mental illnesses I should know about? Light makes sure his tone doesn't sound judgmental. Light has his own issues to deal with and medicate. I think I was, a couple years ago. It's been a while. I don't remember what the psychiatrist said I had. Beyond pauses for a moment, chewing on his bottom lip. Well, he said I had OCD. It's not a cleaning thing. I don't remember the others. I know. Light goes to take a drink of his coffee before remembering he didn't make himself any. Is there anything else you would be willing to provide regarding your mental health, or anything I need to do to better accommodate you during this time? Yes. I want jam with every meal, if possible. Even a little cup of it would suffice. Beyond offers him a genuine smile, and Light suddenly understands why people fawn over him. They don't know that he has a wild temper, or maybe they do and find it equally attractive, but they can see how beautiful he is with a smile. Strawberry jam, to be specific. I can do that. I appreciate your cooperation. Light bows his head, though no one sees it. Your next meal will have strawberry jelly. I have a question for you, really quick. Light isn't sure what to make of that, but Light is willing to see what Beyond wants. Okay. Does the name Naomi ring a bell? Beyond fidgets with his fingers. I feel like I knew someone with that name, but I cannot picture their face. They feel important. I do not. Light will look through a list of L's victims and see if anyone has that name. I'll ask around for you. Beyond nods. Much appreciated. Light turns his microphone off, jotting down a note for Matsuda or whoever isn't busy. Please buy birthday San some strawberry jam. He has requested it for every meal, and we are going to give it to him. He has starting learning to cooperate, and I promised him a reward. I know that rewarding suspects isn't typical behavior, but please trust me on this. There's money in the drawer. Much appreciated, Yagami Kira. It feels weird to sign with that name, but on the off chance Loliet should find it, Light's name isn't present. Light quickly hurries back into the office area, waving at IDE. IDE takes his place back in front of the cameras, watching the duo for suspicious activity. He steps out of the room and heads back to the room with the television. Light-san, is it really a good idea to have all of this evidence around Loliet? Moji looks at Light, his expression unreadable. Have you considered how you are going to protect yourself and all of our information? Yes. That brings up a good point. I'm currently rooming in room 213. I will be switching to room 229. That way, it can't possibly contain any information about me. My room is pretty bare now, but I will take no risks. The surveillance room is off limits for Loliet, as we aren't exactly freeing Beyond. I refuse to chance Loliet and Birthday finding a way to communicate. Light rubs his hand against his face. Otherwise, the other rooms are perfectly acceptable. Please remove anything that you believe may contain my first name. Light-san. Moji's eyes are filling with tears. Moji-san? Is everything okay? Concern laces Light's tone. I'm afraid we're going to lose you. I'm afraid of having L chained to you. The fun part of Loliet's name being L. Loliet is trying to figure out if someone is referring to him or the infamous killer, although Light knows there is no difference. I will be careful. I have a plan. I just need some time. Of course. I did not mean to question your plan. Moji hangs his head in shame. I knew that was not what you were doing. You are concerned for me. I appreciate the concern, replies Light in a kind, gentle tone. I will be careful. A knock on the door stops any further conversation. Light looks himself over, trying to brush away any wrinkles on his tan blazer. He pulls on his red tie, trying to make sure it looks even. The impression he gives Loliet matters. It could mean the difference between life and death. He runs a hand through his hair, trying to push everything back into its perfect place. He debates smiling at Loliet before deciding it'll depend on how Loliet approaches him. Should I say anything? If I say something, what should I say? What if he doesn't like my voice? Should I offer him my hand for handshake? Why am I overthinking this? Is he as nervous as I am? Well, even if he is nervous, it isn't for the same reason I am. I should have asked for advice. Damn it. Come in. Moji gives Light a shrug. The door opens, revealing his father. A long chain dangles from his hands, swaying slightly in the wind. He looks deeply uncomfortable holding it. I found this at a local store. They promised it would be durable. Please never send me there again. Light winces at the thought of his father going to a sex shop. The image makes him squirm. There are some things that one should never think about their parents doing, and Light thinks this is one of them. Thank you. I will not ask for you to do that again, unless the chain breaks before this is over. A chain? And I thought Beyond was a freak. Loliet glides into the room, offering Light a charming smile. Dressed in an oversized white shirt and a pair of tattered blue jeans, he looks incredibly out of place. He looks too thin, the image of a malnourished young adult. He walks directly up to Light, staring him in the eyes without another word. Up close, Light can see how truly beautiful his eyes are, a shade of gray that borders on being black. His pupils are incredibly wide, and Light wonders if that is why his eyes look so dark. His smile slowly fades, and only then does Light realize exactly how chapped his lips are. Hello, Loliet-san. We meet at last. Light offers him a courteous bow. I am Yagami Kira. Loliet gives a bow, a smile playing at his lips. You already know my name. Indeed. Light gestures for his father to bring the handcuffs over. As you heard, there will be handcuffs. The cuff will go around my left wrist, and it will go on your right. You are right-handed. Lolliot tilts his head, staring at Light with his dark eyes. I am ambidextrous, though I tend to use my right hand. It helps to prevent ink from getting smudged. I see, comments L in a neutral tone. Light sticks his hand out, allowing his father to place the cuff around his wrist. He watches intently, noticing that Lolliot doesn't hesitate when Soichiro gestures for him to do the same. Lolliot gently tugs on the chain, smiling to himself. Wherever Light goes, Lolliot will too. They are now chained together, bound to share one fate. As long as they are together, they will suffer the same consequences. We are now ready to begin the new phase of the L investigation, observation. Light offers Lolliot a shark-like grin, noticing that Lolliot seems to shrink into himself. This is the best part. By the end, I will have L's head. Well, that's great. I'm here to help. Light notices how Lolliot's voice shook before leveling out. I sure hope so. Light looks at Lolliot's thin frame. L has terrible fate awaiting him. I hope for your sake that you are not him. I'm not. Very good. Then you have nothing to fear. Light looks out the door. The sun is beginning to set. The day, much like L's reign of terror, is nearing an end. Chapter 5, Observation. Light wakes up, slightly disoriented. The curtains are closed, but he can't see any light. He looks at the alarm clock on the dresser, squinting to see what time it. He nods to himself when he sees it's barely after 12 o'clock. He normally doesn't wake up in the middle of the night, much less without reason. He doesn't need to use the bathroom, nor does he want a snack. A movement near Light attracted his attention. He looks over, surprised to find L trying to crawl into his bed. L gently places himself on the bed, likely unaware that Light is awake and watching his every move. He slows moves upwards, and he pulls the covers back. He slides into the bed, placing himself near Light but not quite touching him. Should I let this happen? How would this look to the other members of the task force? Then again, he does look sort of cute there. We could accidentally snuggle up together. Wait, no, I should stop this before this starts something. Lolliot-san. Hi Kira-kun. I didn't mean to wake you. L yawns, turning over so he can face Light. I just couldn't sleep. How does climbing into bed with me fix that? Light raises an eyebrow, although Lolliot probably can't see that in the dark. I couldn't easily roll over because of the chain, mutters Lolliot in a gloomy tone. And I was cold. I just wanted to be warm and slightly more comfortable. I didn't mean any disrespect, Kira-kun. I see. Light actually doesn't mind the other man curling up in his bed. Light has no other companionship, and L provides a good source of body heat. You can stay here, provided you don't engage in any shenanigans. I wouldn't do such a thing, promises Lolliot. I just want to be warm and cozy. I suppose you do need the sleep. Light already noticed the dark bags under the man's eyes. Lolliot is only 20, but he has the eyes of someone so much older. Light wonders if he was that tired when he was Lolliot's age. We have much work to do. Unfortunately, we don't have much time. What happens when we catch L? Lolliot asks. His voice holds no particular emotion. What do you think should happen to him? Part of Light is hoping for a philosophical debate, while the other part of him wants Lolliot to have a slip-up. Lolliot stares at Light for a few moments, not saying anything. Well, I suppose that's up to the authorities. I don't really know the laws and exact punishments. Someone in law, such as lawyer, would know what a fitting punishment is. I do not. If you could pick L's punishment, what would it be? For the first or second one? Lolliot continues before Light can answer. They are very different. I noticed, admits Light. In this hypothetical situation, you are responsible for both's punishment. You don't have to follow the laws here. It can be whatever you want. Give me a few minutes to think about this. Light imagines that L is biting his lower lip. Moments pass by in a comfortable silence. We'll start with L number 2. L number 2 is ruthless and doesn't care who gets hurt. If he, I'm assuming male due to the fact you interrogated beyond, willingly submits to a psychiatric evaluation, there may be hope for him. He could spend some time receiving the help he needs. If not, then he could be executed. Interesting that he decides to show mercy. He clearly hates Beyond, yet he defends him. He has a similar philosophy to the first L. If they try to be better, they may be worthy of a second chance. Does he believe that Beyond could be helped? Does he know something about him that I do not? And the first L. Part of me thinks he should be executed without mercy, replies Lolliot in a cold tone. He deserves to die. If he does not, people will think the justice system is too soft. They'll rebel and cause problems. And the other part? The other part of me wonders if L could be fixed. Lolliot's tone confuses Light. It sounds hopeful yet depressed. Fixed? Why would L need to be fixed? Light scoffs. How would one even fix a mass murderer? I don't know for sure, okay? Maybe he's just misguided. Maybe he's lonely. I don't know. Lolliot's aggressive tone causes Light to flinch. You seem to be getting emotional. Perhaps you know because are him. Light's accusing tone probably won't calm Lolliot's temper, but anger is good at getting the truth. I'm not him. Lolliot is quiet for a moment. But I am lonely. I feel that my whole life has no sense of purpose. Are you happy? I'll only be happy when you confess. Not really, Lolliot-san. I think you're dancing around my questions. Light's firm tone causes Lolliot to flinch. It's aggravating? I don't understand why you're mad at me. Light doesn't know when Loliet started crying. I didn't do anything. I tried to answer your questions. I don't understand what you're asking of me. Your questions seem straightforward, so I give you a similar answer. And yet, you're not happy. I don't understand. Play that game with someone else, snaps Light irritably. Cut the shit, L. I know you're killing all those people. Loliet storms out of the bed, yanking on the chain as hard as he can. He goes as far as the chain allows, yanking on it again. He lays down the other bed, curling up with his pillow. He holds the pillow as though it is another person, perhaps a lover. I thought you were my friend, Kira. Light winces at the lack of honorific. Loliet must be pissed. Look, I know you're. I'm not anything to anyone, even you. Loliet continues crying, gripping onto the pillow tighter. I thought you were my friend. I don't understand what I did to make you unhappy. Is Loliet really making me play this game? Fine. Two can play at this game. To put it nicely, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You kill people. Light huffs. I just lack the proof. But once I find it, I'm using it against you. I believe that both LS deserve the death penalty. Fine. Sentence both LS to death. Loliet continues sniffing. I won't be among them. We'll see, vows Light. Kira-san, Loliet-san, is everything alright? Matsuda's question pulls Light away from the screen he was staring blankly at. You both haven't said a word to each other all week. Yes. Light's tone leaves no room for question. To help ease the tension, he adds, thank you for your concern. Loliet continues to add sugar into his tea, not looking at anyone. He tends to avoid saying much, especially since the other night when Light interrogated him. He answers questions, asks to go to the bathroom, and occasionally asks about meals. Ever since that night, he hardly does much. He half-heartedly showers, picks at his food, and plays with his tea rather than do anything productive. It's starting to aggravate Light. They aren't friends. Everything they do is for show. Loliet is pretending to be his friend to gain information, nothing more. I've just noticed that Loliet-san has been stirring his tea for the last hour, adds Matsuda in a concerned tone. Yes. Let me fix that. Light reaches over and takes the spoon from Loliet. Why are you taking my stuff? Snaps Loliet. He glares at Light. Why are you touching my stuff? Matsuda puts his hands up. The stirring wasn't an issue. I was just worried. I know, but Loliet-san needs to stop moping around. Light throws the spoon in the trash can. He winces when he remembers it is a reusable metal one. Oh well, it can be replaced. I'm rather sick of his moping. I'm not moping. Loliet's sharp tone causes Matsuda to jump. I'm just making sure that I do exactly what I'm told. All I have to do is be observed. Anything else is optional. And I only have to provide you with basic meals, rebuttals Light. All that sugar isn't required. I don't have to give you all that tea either. Fine. Take your fucking tea then. Loliet shoves the teacup in his direction. I didn't have it before, and I can live without it now. If you want to do it this way, then fine. Light stands up, clapping his hand. Under new rules, perhaps suggested by Loliet-san himself, no one is to serve him anything other than the 3 basic meals per day. No more coffee, tea, snacks, or anything else. Loliet shakes his head, laughing to himself. You know what? You have the coldness of the second L. I wonder if I'll lose bathing privileges for that comment. Light grits his teeth. Fine. Get up. We're going to bed. You're not going to disrespect me. Huh. With his mouth hanging open and tears pooling in his eyes, Loliet looks incredibly young and lost. He looks at Light like he has lost his only friend. Damn it. Now I look like the bad guy. I guess I'll have to apologize and smooth things over. Maybe I was too harsh. He may be the L, but if what he said last week is true, I might make more progress by playing nice. Come on. Light tries a gentler tone. We've been here for several hours. It's almost time to everyone to leave anyways. I want a minute to talk to you before bed. Loliet nods his head, standing up and following behind Light. Good night. Good night. Matsuda offers them both a wave. I will see you all here in the morning. Light doesn't wish his team good night. He knows that none of them are sleeping well enough for that. Please remember to try and rest. They exit the room, heading to the staircase. They walk beside each other on the staircase, the chain swinging beneath them with a quiet clanking noise. The sun is starting to set, drenching the world in various shades of orange and pink. In the sunset, Loliet looks radiant, and Light blushes before scolding himself at the thought. He can't even be nice to the man, although part of it might be hormones and a lack of sleep. Being incredibly horny and attached by the wrist to a rather pretty guy isn't exactly a great pairing. Add in about 2 hours of sleep every night and a burning suspicion that the pretty guy is the L, and that completes the current model of Yagami Light. It isn't exactly L. Loliet's fault, and he owes the man an apology. Light opens the door when they reach their room. After you? A gentle smile graces Loliet's face. He steps into the room, and Light follows behind him. He closes the door, locking it immediately afterwards. He goes over to the window, pulling the blinds shut. L turns on the lamp on the bedside stand between their 2 beds, clearly trying to replace the lost light. Loliet-san, I'm sorry for snapping at you. Light bows before Loliet. My behavior was unwarranted. I am angry with the lack of results in this case. By no means is this your fault, and I shouldn't have taken it out on you. I was petty, spiteful, and needlessly cruel. Please forgive me, Loliet-san. I will forgive you, as long as you forgive me as well. Loliot looks at Light with an unreadable expression. I should have tried communicating better with you. Had I expressed my feelings better, things may have gone better. I'm not good at communicating, and that isn't your fault. Allow us to call it even, then, says Light. He takes off his shirt and pants before changing into his pajamas. He undoes the chain for a brief moment so both he and Loliot can put on their pajama shirt. After they're done, he reattaches the chain and put the key on the dresser. If you want to, you can rejoin me in bed. I can. Loliot offers him a genuine smile. Kira-kun is much too kind. I shall take him up on his offer. Light smiles to himself. The room is kept too cool for Light's liking, but Loliot is very warm. The night Loliot curled up in bed next to him, Light felt warm. Good. I missed talking to you. I missed you too. Loliot licks his finger before crawling up on the bed. Are you going to shut the lamp off? I can, if you want. Please. Light gets on the other side of the bed. Light is trying to position them so that the chain doesn't become a problem. Loliot turns the lamp off. He crawls under the sheets, his back to Light. You can be the big spoon. We're snuggling. Well, I thought so. I'm cold? Light allows himself to curl around Loliot, draping an arm over him. Are you comfortable? Purrs Loliot. Good night, Kira-kun. Good night, Loliot-san. L stares at the files in front of him, flipping through them with faux interest. He needs to look interested in the evidence he is given but not too interested. Truthfully, L already knows all this information. Every name is one that he wrote down to die at a later date just in case he became unavailable. Their faces, names, crimes, and method of death is nothing new. He doesn't have to fake his interest when he occasionally sees Kira's note in the margins. Sometimes the notes are simple things: parole dates, unlisted crimes, what channel and paper covered the inmate, and other generalized information. Other times, the notes are a complex, in-depth study of L's motives and personality. Kira tends to focus more on his L than beyond L. L doesn't know how to feel about Kira's assessment. Kira believes L to be mentally unwell, a coward, and someone who was likely severely neglected and or abused. L isn't the perfect picture of mental wellness, and he never was. The psychiatrist diagnosed him with a few things, although L only remembers a few words. L was never able to receive any medications. After running away, he never saw another healthcare provider of any sort again. As for being a coward, L would admit that is true. He hides from loud noises, people, cramped spaces, strange textures, his own feelings, and anything else that he can run from. The only one that he really isn't sure about is the abuse or neglect idea. Roger wasn't kind to L. Sure, he called him names that weren't socially acceptable and threatened to hit him a few times, but L doubts that qualifies as abuse. L guesses that his lack of shelter, food, and clothing as a child could be considered neglect, but L wouldn't call it such. L made the decision to run away, and L had to live with the consequences of that. Roger wanted him gone, and L wanted to disappear. L found a way to provide for himself. It hadn't been ideal, but he'd gotten through. Loliot-san. Kira's gentle voice pulled him from his thoughts. Tell me what you think of this. L accepts the file from Kira with no complaints. He opens it, reading it slowly. Michael John Robertson. Sex, male. Age, 65. Nationality, American. Career, businessman. Michael Robertson was an American businessman arrested in 1979 on several charges, including tax fraud, possessing marijuana, intending to distribute marijuana, possessing explicit content of minors, and first-degree murder. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison, with parole being eligible after serving 3 years. It is believed that Michael's wealthy family bribed the judge and several members of the jury. He expressed no regret over his crimes. He was found dead on dash. He jumped from his porch balcony. The fall broke his neck, and he was declared dead on the scene. Thoughts? Kira stares at L, an unreadable expression. Shit. He's digging for something specific here. Should I comment on the fact that his death date is blacked out? It might seem suspicious. On the other hand, if I don't mention it, that'd seem weird. I know, I'll use it as a conversation starter. Why is the death date blacked out? L tilts his head, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. That makes no sense to me. Unless he died years ago, what's the point hiding that information? It could prove helpful to learn about L's activity pattern. Very good question. Kira offers him a proud smile. I did that. I wanted you to draw other conclusions first. Oh, that's not exactly good. I need to be very careful. L stares at the file. I do remember writing his name, now that I think of it. I learned about him through a global paper. That's it. Kira must be wondering if I think this is one of L's victims. From an outside point of view, you could argue either way. The criteria matches, but the method does not, which seems less suspicious to argue. Perhaps I should use the unique methodology to my advantage and say he isn't one of L's victims. Or, better yet, say I am unsure. You want to know if I think L killed him. When Kira nods, L taps his fingers together slowly. In truth, I cannot draw a definite conclusion. He seems to meet the criteria, but he doesn't meet the usual method. Very good, praises Kira, studying L with an curious look. But surely you have final thought, right? You must think that L either did or didn't kill him. I'm curious where you stand. I didn't think L killed him, admits L in a slow tone. The way he died just seems too odd. L never usually makes his victims do that type of stuff. Incorrect. Kira holds up a finger. Roger Irving. He died a painful death. The second L has always been brutal. I said usually for a reason, corrects L in a soft tone. There are, as you stated, exceptions. I suppose he could be one, but I'm not sure why L would pick him to be an exception. He doesn't seem special. What do you believe makes a victim special? Kira continues to study his every moment, his stare intense. He wants to pick L apart from the inside out. That's a very good question I am unequipped to answer. L continues to play with the file before lazily turning to stare at Kira. He offers Kira a flirty smile, seeing the man's eyes widen. I meant it when I said I'm not L, Kira-kun. But surely, Kira-kun, I would need to see the file of every special death. Only then would I be able to see a pattern. L bats his eyes at Kira, unsure when he decided to start flirting with Kira. Even then, it would just be a theoretical pattern. We would have to determine if the first L, the second L, or both of them decided to sentence individuals to special deaths. Even so, they could create a pattern to throw us off. You bring up a good point. Kira turns to stare at the computer screen. Have you noticed anything interesting in the data recently? Yes. L almost winces when he realized how quickly he answered. I've noticed 3 major changes. And Kira gestures for him to continue with a lazy flick of his wrist. L has been active in El Salvador, China, and England recently. Around 98% of his victims this week have been from one of those countries. Secondly, L killed a female inmate this week, something he's never done before. Lastly, L has become more active at night. His victims have started dying in the early evening into the early hours of the morning. Good job. Kira turns to face his father. Father, can you please get us dinner? Of course. Soichiro stands up from behind his desk. Would you like your mom to cook you dinner and have me bring it in? She's awful worried about you. L freezes for a moment. Kira has a whole family, a mother, a father, and he might even have siblings. Kira could be married and not wear his wedding ring to work to protect his wife. Kira might even have children, and something about that idea makes L nauseous. Before meeting Kira, he wanted to wipe the entire team out, but he lacked the Shinigami eyes and the essential information. Now, he doesn't think he can do. How can he kill the beautiful Kira, a man who dresses in sharp tan outfits and drinks black coffee to stay awake? It was easier to envision killing people who hadn't necessarily done wrong when L didn't know anything about them. L didn't think he could do it now he knew that Kira had a family and a whole life L knew nothing about. Loliot-san, are you okay? Kira is leaning in front of him, snapping his fingers. L isn't sure why everyone is staring at him until he looks down and realizes he's covered in puke. The sight of it makes him retch, and he coughs up his remaining bit of breakfast. I think I'm all right now. What happened? Matsuda-san, he just puked. What do you want him to say? Aizawa rolls his eyes, glaring at L when he looks at him. He needs a shower. I know. Kira gives L a questioning glance. Loliot-san, do you feel well enough to go take a shower? His head spins, everything moving too fast for him to tell his left from his right. Maybe. Watari glides across the room, standing in front of L. I can help you, my dear boy. L silently nods his head, biting his tongue so that he doesn't accidentally address Watari and get himself arrested. Maybe he can say something to Kira that can apply to Watari too. If you can make sure I don't fall, I should be alright. Light-kun, do you need any help? Matsuda is over near L before L has a chance to figure anything out. Light? Is Kira's real name Light? That's actually really cute. His name is Light. Yagami Light. He simply doesn't trust me with his real name, which is a valid concern. However, I think I've already made up my mind. Light. L croaks out, his mouth parched. Your name is Light, Kira-san. Matsuda-san? Outside now, roars Soichiro, his face turning a vivid red color. Your name is so pretty, mutters L. So pretty. Thanks. Light gives him a nervous look, as though he expects his heart to burst at any minute. You know, I can slip you a piece of paper. You know everyone else's name. You can kill everyone else here. We could be gone before anyone could find out. Watari gestures at something L's eyes cannot focus on. We can destroy all the evidence. It'll be like this never even happened. As for Beyond Birthday, you can do as you wish with him. Light-kun, or do you still prefer I call you Kira-kun? I need to get out of this clothes immediately. L hates that everyone in this room is staring at him. I'm not going to hurt Yagami Light-kun. He's my first and only friend. He's not your friend. He's investigating your suspicious ass, growls Aizawa, storming over to them. I think we should kill him before he finds a way to kill Light-san. We must protect our own. No, I will hear none of that. Light hangs his head, as if resigning himself to an early death. I will not persecute Loliot-san without definite proof. I knew the risks of agreeing to work on this case. It is no one's fault. There is no point in scolding Matsuda-san. What's done is done. We must now work twice as hard to catch L. L's stomach twists, and he's dry heaving before he can finish processing the words. God. What have I done? What have I done? How could I do this? I was supposed to make the world better. I don't think this is making things better. Could it be that I'm a bad person? Loliot-san. Light looks at him with an almost knowing look. It's alright. We'll be okay for right now. But I always want you to be safe. Once L says the words out loud, it sets in how much he means them. He isn't sure why he likes Light so much, but he does. After getting over their first disagreement, everything has been smooth sailing. I don't want anything to happen to you. As you wish, Loliot-san. Watari bows his head. I will respect your wishes. Thank you for the concern, Loliot-san. Light offers him a hand. You can call me what you wish. L accepts his hand, allowing Light to gently lead him away from the stack of files. Light leads him to the trash can, unlocking the handcuffs from L's wrist. What am I supposed to do? Light raises an eyebrow. Throw out the shirt. No, L can't part with his shirt. This is the only shirt he owns. I cannot. Loliot-san, warns Light. No, L refuses to follow the order. I don't have any other clothes. I can't, okay? I don't have anything else. You can have some of mine, replies Light in a compassionate voice, giving him a pitying look. It'll definitely fit you. You're so scrawny. But, L doesn't know what to say. He has an idea of what he needs to say, but he doesn't know how to say it. He is embarrassed by his ratty white shirt and torn blue jeans, especially around all of the well-dressed task force members, but the material is comfortable. The clothes belongs to him, no strings attached. Light-kun, please understand. It's a burden to wash your clothes every day because you refuse to wear another outfit, snaps Aizawa irritably. Out of everyone, L dislikes him the most. Yagami-san is simply too polite to tell you. Imagine how he must feel, shackled to a dirty hobo. Aizawa. Light scowls at him, irritation flashing in his eyes. Loliot-san is not here by choice. You need to be respectful to him. Do you think that out on the streets, people cared if he puked? Do you think anyone would have noticed if he died? Aizawa looks at L with disapproval. You're given the chance to prove yourself, and you fail so badly. I don't think you have the intelligence to be the L. L slowly takes off his shirt, trying not to cry as he parts with it. He can't give Aizawa any more reasons to hate him. Other people's comfort comes before his own. He tosses the shirt in the trash before he loses courage. I never meant to be a burden. I'm sorry. Loliot-san, you were no such thing. Light takes L's hand and gives it a gentle squeeze. Let us go get you a shower. Son, what would you like done about dinner? So Ichiro looks rather uncomfortable with the entire situation. He eyes L's thin form, frowning deeply. Can you have mom make us some of her homemade soup? Light even uses his puppy eyes. For both of you. Please. Alright. I'll bring it to your room. So Ichiro offers L a thin smile. Aizawa-san, a word outside. Light helps L out of the room, Watteri's skeletal fingers digging in the flesh of L's other upper arm. Together, they both support him, slowly helping him up the stairs and into their bedroom. Light quickly unlocks the door with the key in his pocket, hurrying L inside. He closes the door behind him, locking it immediately. I didn't reattach the chain since you're going to shower, mutters Light as he helps L to sit on the bed. He opens the closet door, pulling out a beige sweater. Does this feel nice? L shakes his head. I will make it work, though. Nonsense. You deserve to be comfortable. Light continues digging around the closet, pulling out a gray sweatshirt, a navy blue turtleneck, and a creamy white sweater. Here. Do any of these feel nice? L touches all the fabrics, running them between his fingers. I like the sweater. Okay. Light puts the other shirts back, pulling out a few pair of jeans. Here, do any of these feel nice? That way, Aizawa can shut his mouth and do something for once. L feels them all, settling for a pair that bear an odd resemblance to the ones he has on. Thank you, Light-kun. Of course. Light sets L's pajamas on the end of the bed. L only wears pajamas because Light wants him to. Will you be alright in the shower? I believe so. L smiles weakly, heading into the bathroom. He leaves the door open, uncaring if Light stares at him when he undresses. They shower together every day. They've seen each other naked on multiple occasions. Besides, if Light wants to stare at L's scrawny ass, L has no objections. He steps into the shower, turning the water on. The water hits the floor, steam beginning to rise. He immediately moves to stand under the warm, pulling the curtain closed behind him. He wets his hair, lathering it with the apple shampoo Light uses, careful not to get any in his eyes. He watches the bubbles go down the drain, the smell of apples overwhelming his nose. He opens the bottle of soap, squeezing a generous amount in his hand. He adds a little water, studying the way it sits in his hands. He slowly begins to wash his body, savoring the sweet moment of not having a chain attached to his wrist. He likes Light, he really does, but the chain is aggravating after several hours. It isn't long before L rinses all the soap off of himself and gives his face a rinse before he steps out of the shower. He grabs his towel off the door, drying himself off. He avoids looking at himself in the mirror, afraid of what he would see staring back at him. He sees that Light snuck in, setting a pair of underwear on the counter for him. L has never had so many pairs of underwear before, much less of Beyond Birthday's luxury brand. As much as he dislikes Beyond, the man knows how to create incredibly comfortable underwear. He slides them on without further thought, tucking everything into place. He hangs his towel back on the door, pulling out the blow dryer. He uses it for a few minutes, putting it away immediately after finishing with it. He grabs his toothbrush, smearing it with toothpaste. He brushes until he doesn't have a funky taste in his mouth. He rinses the sink before heading into the bedroom. Light looks up from the television they have in their room, offering him a gentle smile. You look better. I feel somewhat better. L crawls into the already undone bed. But it's still so cold in here. Light places his cold hand against L's forehead. You're burning hot. I think you might have a fever. I took a hot shower, grumbles L in response. But you said you're freezing cold, argues Light. He sighs, hesitating slightly before pulling the chain out and cuffing it around L's wrist. I think you might just be sick. I'll see to it that you get better. L wraps Light's arm around his waist. Just snuggle with me. As you wish. It'd be cruel of me to deny a sick man his heart's desire. Light tries not to put his head into his hands and give up. Today marks exact 4 months since he's had Loliet and beyond in his custody, and L has only gotten more aggressive. The general population is beginning to accept that L is some sort of superhuman who can evade authorities, and a decent portion of the population has begun to accept L as a deity of sorts. Meanwhile, high-ranking officials are demanding that Loliet and beyond be released soon unless Light has actually evidence that could convict them. As of right now, he has no evidence. According to Matsuda, Beyond has willingly submitted to every test. He passed the polygraph test administered by Soichiro. He willingly talks to the psychiatrist that Light found, answering every question she asks him. As a matter of fact, Matsuda says that this is the happiest and most relaxed that he has ever seen Beyond. Matsuda would know, considering that he was in charge of seeing to Beyond's needs and asking him basic questions under the guise of being Matsui. Loliet helps Light however he can. He sorts through files, collects data, makes sure Light remembers to eat, yells at other task force members when they don't clean up their messes, and keeps him company on what would otherwise be long and lonely nights. He's gotten incredibly bold with his flirting, apparently uncaring who sees him hit on Light. Loliet makes Light's heart race, and he wishes that he could find a reason to hold on to Loliet for a while longer. He is nowhere near ready to let go of him. Light shouldn't harbor feelings for a mass murderer. Loliet could kill him and everyone he cares about on a whim, although Light isn't sure the method either L uses to commit their crimes. Loliet is not a man to play house with, but Light finds himself wanting to do it anyways. He craves Loliet's attention, soft smiles, gentle cuddles, and all the other things that Loliet gives him. Light can selfishly be Loliet's entire world, and the other man seems all too happy about it. With Loliet, he's finally found his match, someone who can rival his intelligence and wit. Light doesn't want to give that up. Jose Martino, Randy Paulin, Andrew Mulligan, and Komatsu Setsuko are L's newest victims. Soichiro's voice pulls Light from his musings. All found dead around 3 this afternoon. Jose Martino died at a hotel in Mexico, where he was hiding from Honduran police. Randy Paulin collapsed at a bar in Boston. Andrew Mulligan died in Bath. Boston? Bath. Matsuda tilts his head. Poor person that found that guy in this bath. Not sure what Boston is though. Bath is a city in the England, answers Loliet, gently licking the tip of his thumb. I think Boston is in the United States. How do you know that? Moji shakes his head. Everyone seems to know stuff, except me. I spent some time in Britain as a child, answers Loliet before frowning. He continues to lick his fingers. I don't remember much of it. That was many years ago. You're not that old. Matsuda shakes his head. I'm older than you, and I remember my childhood. While true, I have very blurry memories of my childhood. The very first clear thing that I remember is stumbling upon the orphanage here in Japan. Loliet closes his eyes for a moment. Other things are blurry. I must have been raised by people who can speak multiple languages, because I understand quite a few. How do you not have a high-paying job? Matsuda asks earnestly. I have no formal education. Loliet opens his eyes, sighing. After I ran away, I didn't go back to school. I already knew how to read and write, so I would just go to the library and read books whenever I could. I studied all sorts of subjects. Did you always live on the streets after running away? Matsuda seems genuinely curious as to what answer Loliet is going to give. Yes. How were you not found? Light hates that Loliet lived on the streets. He should have been somewhere safe and warm, somewhere where he could use his full potential. The system failed him, just like it has so many others. Roger was not particularly fond of me. When I left, he wasn't overly interested in finding me. Loliet sighs gently, rubbing his thumb over his bottom lip. I didn't want him to find me, so I hid. I ran far away, always hiding. I got rather good at it, actually. Loliet-san, I'm sorry. Light doesn't know what else to say. Why? Loliet tilts his head, staring at Light intently. Because people like me failed you. Because no one saved you then, and I can't save you now. Because while you're fighting to survive, I've done nothing to help. Roger should have been stopped, and it was law enforcement that failed to stop him. That's why. Instead of saying that, Light says, because you deserve better. Loliet's cheeks turn bright pink, finally giving his face some color. A small smile begins to form on his face, sending Light's heart racing. Thank you. Light nods his head. Of course, Loliet-san. Please remember that people are dead. Aizawa gives Light and L a stern look. Please focus. We are, snaps Light irritably. What have you done for this case, Aizawa-san? Light-kun. L looks at him with wide eyes, clearly surprised by Light's outburst. Are you alright? I'm sorry. I'm just upset. Light sighs, putting his head in his hands. I feel like L is winning. I have no way of stopping either of them. I don't have much time left. Why did you say that? Loliet's voice cracks, his eyes watering slightly. One day, one of the LS will find out my name. Light hangs his head, wondering how to play his cards. Loliet seems genuinely worried. When he does, he'll kill me. Every day brings me closer to death. The only way I can survive is by catching both of them. I will help you however I can. Loliet continues to stare at Light. I promise. I don't want anything to happen to you. Is it possible he's sincere? Maybe being away from his weapon of mass destruction is changing him. One of the most popular theories online is that L possesses individuals for brief stunts before leaving them. Could this be the case here? If this is the work of a vengeful spirit, it could explain why one of the victims used a knife to carve an L into his stomach. It might have been a fragment of what the spirit was trying to communicate. No, that is nonsense. Ghosts aren't real. This is the work of a human. I appreciate that. Light stares at the faces of the newest victims. All of them appear unremarkable, and Light wonders what he isn't seeing. We've just hit a roadblock. We have bodies but no clues. IDE looks up from the computer, offering Light a sympathetic smile. I'll keep monitoring the online forums. I haven't lost hope in you. Me either. Matsuda jumps around, almost tripping over a cord. I know you're going to win. Yes, yes. Yagami-san is very clever, adds Moji in a somewhat cheerful tone. Yeah. Aizawa grunts. Don't expect me to kiss your ass, kid. Yeah, I have complete faith in you, Light-kun, praises Loliot, grabbing into Light's arm. I believe in you. I think you're a good person, and I hope that you win. Do you really? Do you regret becoming L? Or have you fallen for me during this investigation? Light's face turns flush pink. This could all be a game. He just seems so sweet, and I like having him here. I wish I could get him to confess to me alone. I could spare him. Surely I could work something out. Light doesn't have much time to create a plan. His days with Loliot are dwindling. He knows that his life hangs in a delicate balance between survival and death. Light-san, Birthday-san is waiting. Matsuda offers them both an awkward smile when he sees their limbs tangled together. Sorry, I should have knocked. The door was locked. How did you? Matsuda holds up a set of glittering golden keys. Your dad gave them to me. I see. Light sits up in bed, causing Loliot to whine. Give us a few moments. As you wish. Matsuda bows. No rush. Take your time. Thank you, Matsuda-san. Light watches as he shuts the door, letting out a gentle breath. At least it wasn't his father who opened the door. Although, the more Light thinks about it, the more Light suspects that his father knows about his feelings for Loliot. I'm going to miss you. L wraps his arms around Light's slender waist, pulling him closer. You're my most dear friend, Yagami Light-kun. And you are my dearest companion. Light bows his head, wondering if his words are enough to spare him. I am going to miss you dearly. Loliot's eyes fill with tears. You make it sound like we'll never see each other again. I doubt we will, admits Light, smiling sadly. If we do meet again, I hope it is after this case is closed. I have a feeling if we meet again while this case is open, things will end different. Don't say that. Loliot nuzzles his face into the crook of Light's neck, his breath warming Light's skin. I want to see you again. Tell that to the LS. I fear my life may be nearing its end. Light runs a hand through Loliot's floppy, overgrown hair. Since you aren't L the killer, I doubt you can do anything. Having no evidence to convict you will always be my greatest failure. By releasing Beyond NU, I have practically signed my own death warrant. I wish I had the evidence so I could keep you. Light licks his lips at the thought. I wouldn't let you go to prison. I'd keep you with me. You would be my lifelong partner, my most precious secret. I would give you a life beyond what you could imagine: soft clothes, warm food, a stable house, all the love you could need, and anything that you asked of me. And yet, it can never happen. I don't want to say goodbye. Loliot leans back, staring at Light with a pout. I want to stay with you. I'm sure we'll see each other again. Light purposefully leaves out the fact that it'll be when Loliot finally slips up. Birthday-san is waiting for you and seems awfully excited. Ugh. Loliot rolls his eyes. I can't stand him. Why do I have to live with him? So you have a place to stay and food. I hate the idea of him being the one to hold you, but he can provide for you. For now. It won't be like this forever. For investigation reasons. Light nods to himself. We want you both to be at the same place should we need to find you. Technically, we're not really supposed to release you back onto the streets. I see. Loliot gets off the bed, staring gloomily at the door. One day, we'll meet again. The sun will be shining, and the breeze will be warm. I hope it'll be near the water tower where the cherry blossom trees bloom. Hopefully. Light knows that will never happen. Either Light will be dead by then, or Loliot will be in prison. I need to tell you one final thing before I let you go. Light plays with the chain that still connects them. Right now, they are still bound together, sharing the same fate. If you ever find yourself realizing that maybe you are L, come to me directly. I'll see what I can do for you. Loliot doesn't say anything for a few minutes. He turns and silently stares at Light with an unreadable expression. Okay. If that were to happen, which it will not, I will come see you. Light offers him a final smile, unchanged, aiming Loliot from him. He removes the cuff from his wrist, looking at the mark left on his skin. Soon, only memories of being handcuffed to Loliot will remain. They are no longer bound to the same fate, destined to be by each other's side. Somehow, Light's body feels heavier without the chain than it did with it. He wonders if he'll ever have to do that on another case before remembering that he likely won't survive this one, and if he does, he wants Loliot to be the only person to ever have that honor. You are now free to go. Light stands up, smoothing the wrinkles out of his dress clothes before bowing to Loliot. I am sorry to have wasted your time. I wish you well in your endeavors. You didn't waste my time. Loliot rubs his fingers together. You have taught me many things. I enjoyed meeting you. I enjoyed meeting everyone. It's unfortunate that our time is up. I agree. Light goes over to the door, opening it for Loliet. You are free to go now. The car is waiting to bring Birthday San and you home. Are you not going to walk me out? Loliet raises his eyebrow. No, I'm not leaving. You are? Light shoves all his emotions back down. He can't get emotional over a goodbye with a mass murderer. He simply cannot. And yet. Okay. Loliet walks out the door, offering Light a wave. Goodbye for now, Yagami Light-kun. By the way, Loliet-san, hollers Light as Loliet walks away. When Loliet freezes, he continues, I want you to know that I know the truth about you. I know it, but I still care about you. Just thought I'd tell you. Light closes the door, locking it. He'll go down and deal with the task force later, once he has had a few coffees and enough time to emotionally pull himself together. He can already hear the bitching. His head is starting to throb, and he wonders if it's the start of a headache or if L has found a way to strike. Part of him wants to try and nap it off, but the bed is much too cold without Loliet there to snuggle with him. Instead of sleeping, Light pulls out his laptop, determined to review all the evidence. He goes through file after file, nothing standing out more than it did after the first few inspections. None of the files contain any evidence to convict either L, much to Light's relief. If Light has missed such simple evidence, he would be incredibly disappointed in himself. He doesn't want to think about how disappointed everyone else would be in him. He stops when he sees the audio file from the day Matsuda acted as Misa's manager. Light is half tempted to ignore it, but something about it seems too good to pass up. Without another thought, he clicks it. Everything sounds the exact same as the first time. Midway through, Light almost turns it off until he hears something that causes his blood to turn cold. The night was cold, but his lips were incredibly warm. I never wanted a man to fuck me more than I did when I laid eyes on him. L had mentioned something about Beyond forcefully kissing him. While Loliet might not have consented to it, Beyond chose to kiss him because Beyond somehow knew Loliet was L. Beyond admitted to wanting Loliet to have sex with him, another thing that he said about L. The evidence is almost non-existent, a series of events that could be written off as coincidences. Light, however, knows better. In this case, coincidences do not exist. Light almost bangs his head on the table. They just left, and Light doesn't have sufficient evidence to bring them back. He bites at his fingernails, ignoring how unsanitary the habit is. He just needs to think for a few moments. The idea hits Light suddenly. He can set a trap. Chapter 6. Trap. Beyond wraps himself around L, ignoring the man's gentle sigh. Come on. We'll go sit in front of the news and judge people together. We need to be careful. L stirs the spoon in the tea, trying to dissolve the heap of sugar he poured in it. We've only been free for a little over a month. If we act too hastily, we'll get arrested. It's almost like you don't want to judge the wicked, accuses Beyond in a bitter tone. L drops his spoon in his cup, whirling around to face Beyond. He shoves Beyond's arms off of him. Don't pretend to know what I'm thinking. Ever since Naomi gave you that notebook back, you've been unbearable. Unbearable. Beyond shoves a finger into L's face. Listen to me right now, L. Loliet. I'm not unbearable. You're just ungrateful. I gave up my memories to protect you. And you know the thanks I get? No sex, no hugs, no anything. I was trying to protect you. L storms off into the living room. He was trying to protect me? I didn't know that. Beyond sighs. I should have treated Loliet with more respect. He clearly knows more than I do. I just want to serve him and make him happy. Loliet, pleads Beyond as he enters the living room, giving L his cutest puppy eyes. Forgive me. I judged you, and it is not my place to do that. I just want to spend time with you. I want to make sure we stay on the correct path. L lets out a gentle huff before sitting on the couch, patting for Beyond to sit next to him. He smiles when Beyond quickly hurried to fill the spot, practically snuggling into L's side. I understand. Perhaps you are right. We will watch the Nate River show before turning over some judgments. Beyond claps his hands together, ecstatic to spend time with his dear L. Loliet. L is always reading all the books Beyond had on his shelves. If he isn't reading, then he is in the kitchen, trying his hardest to learn how to cook. Beyond finds L rather amusing. Beyond has plenty of money to hire someone to do all the domestic work, but L is determined to do it himself. He seems fascinated by all of the things in Beyond's house: the large art studio filled with uncompleted canvases, the large vanity filled with makeup, the room filled with an odd assortment of clothes, dolls, and books, and the houseplants Beyond has sitting in random places. He always wants to have all of L's attention, but he knows L would get irritated if he demanded too much. If that is okay with you, of course, adds L in a smooth tone. Beyond must have been silently staring off into space. He mentally chides himself. L has so much to do. He wants to spend time with me, and yet, I ignore him. I should be ashamed of myself. Of course. Nothing could make me happier, purrs Beyond, wrapping his entire torso around L's arm. I always want to spend time with you. I missed you during the isolation. L gives him a half-hearted smile, a dazed look in his eyes. I learned many important things during our time apart. Things I never thought about much. Really. Beyond moves slightly, tugging on his black ripped jeans as he does. As much as he loves clinging on L's arm for dear life, his jeans pinch him uncomfortable spots when he does that. What did you learn? That I definitely like men, admits L, almost looking embarrassed. Did you not know that before? Beyond frowns at the implication. Did someone investigating him stand out? Did some flirt with him? If so, I'll kill him. L is mine and mine alone. No one else should even be able to look at him with lust. My poor L. My poor L had to deal with some disgusting vermin ogling at him? Unacceptable? I will kill that bastard. Well, not exactly. L's hands move wildly for a moment before stilling. He looks at Beyond before deciding to explain. I never really understood sexuality before. I never really had time to explore what I felt. I always thought women were pretty, but I never exactly envisioned myself in a relationship with a girl, you know. Not quite, admits Beyond. Beyond had always looked at pretty women and thought about a future with them. When he got older, he started noticing other men, and he found himself envisioning a future with them. I've always found women to be wonderful. I think I always felt that way about men, but I didn't know how to express it. I always thought being with another man would feel wrong. L stares at the ground as he continues, clearly uncomfortable with the topic. Roger always said it was wrong. Roger said I was wrong, and I always believed him. Well, I used to. Is that why you killed him? Beyond offers L a compassionate smile. He sounds like a miserable old bastard. He was. L stares off into nothingness for a few moments, thinking to himself. He ruined my life. I always tried to be so perfect. He liked me so much, but the day the psychiatrist or psychologist or whoever it was came, everything changed. He didn't want me there. He was afraid I'd ruin the other children, I think. What did they say that was so bad? Beyond hates Roger with a burning, endless passion. The man deserved a much more painful death. If Beyond would have written his name, he would have given him a much more brutal death. He might have gouged his eyes out after cutting off all his toes, or maybe he would have thrown himself into a river after ripping out each fingernail and rubbing salt in the open injury. They suspected that I might have autism. L frowns deeply at the accusation. I don't really know what that means or why they suspected I have it. I just remember Roger asking if they could fix me. Fucking bastard. We should kill him again. Beyond would kill him again if he could. He'd love to tear the man apart with his bare teeth. I don't know much about autism either, but it doesn't matter. Roger Irving deserved to die so much sooner. There are so many people like him in this world that we don't know about. L starts rubbing at his face. Punishing criminals is fine and all, but I'd much rather hunt people like him down. The cops can catch criminals, and the justice system can try and fail, but that's a different matter entirely to bring justice to the victims. But for people like Roger, hateful bastards in positions of power, they simply get away with it. There is no system in check for people like him. How many times do abusive parents and partners get away with it simply because no one caught them? It makes me so mad. I like it when you get passionate. Beyond ignores the urge to shove L into the couch and make out with him. He'd love to grind his groin into L's pelvic area until they're both out of breath and panting. He'd like to see what L looks like underneath of him, begging. Would it be hotter with L beneath him or on top of him? Beyond knows the answer. It'd be hotter with L on top, making Beyond beg and plead. You know, we could skip the show for tonight and go upstairs. Beyond, now is not the time. L immediately looks guilty. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have been so rude. I just don't think that right now is a good time. You say that every time, whines Beyond, pouting. He can hear Naomi laughing from wherever she's perched. I almost think you don't want me. We have this discussion frequently. L stands up, brushing Beyond off him. He heads upstairs, and he comes back down a few moments later holding their death notes. He hands Beyond the notebook before sitting back down. I do like you, but I think you have feelings that I do not. You are, at most, my friend. Beyond groans, aggravation bubbling in his chest. Fine. Beyond Khan. L looks at him with wide eyes. Thank you for understanding. Of course. Beyond almost gasps when he sees L's lifespan. The notebook says he shouldn't be able to, but he thinks the rule doesn't apply to him since he was born with his eyes. 3 hours? Only 3 hours? That can't be right. We have our notes right here, and I wouldn't let anything happen to him. I'd kill anyone that threatened L. Does that mean I'm going to die? No, that doesn't matter. Should I say something? I don't want to scare him. I know, I'll continue to monitor his numbers. If they keep falling, I'll say something. L grabs the television remote and turns on the television. Televisions are so wonderful. They never fail to amuse me. Beyond bites his tongue, afraid of blurting out the fact that L is going to die soon. Hello folks. I'm Nate River, reporting to you from Tokyo. The man gives his audience a terrifying smile, his dark eyes staring into the camera. He looks so young, and Beyond wonders why his numbers indicate that he'll be dead in 5 years. Today, we'll be covering L's latest judgments, speculation on L's political views, and the current state of affairs globally. I didn't know people thought I was involved in politics. L stares at the screen, looking faintly amused. Although, I suppose killing people has a political undertone. Yeah, maybe, replies Beyond, staring at the bright red numbers above L's head. L has killed 42 victims this week, and I think every one is the best thing that could happen to society. Nate claps his hands together in a childish manner. People are calling this method unethical. Maybe I remind these people that these criminals are actively using your tax money to lounge around all day and plan their next scheme. These criminals are here to cause you and your family harm. We should be glad to get rid of these vermin. I wish L would kill more of these scumbags. 42 is not nearly enough when thousands are still in prison cells, waiting for their chance to escape so they can cause harm. However, I understand that L is very busy with judgments, and I am just a human. I am not divine judgment. I just tend to get overly passionate. I am very excited about the world L is creating. L nudges Beyond in the side. Do you really think we're changing the world? Yes. I fully believe in our mission, answers Beyond immediately. Many people do. Nate is simply addressing a very small portion of the population. Now, I must talk about L's potential political stances. Many have argued that L is against feminism, homosexuality. What? Beyond screeches, angrily opening his death note. I've literally had sex with other men. Why would I be homophobic? I hate people. I only think about kissing men. L rolls his eyes. And I must admit I'm disappointed. L clearly isn't any of these things. Nate huffs, pointing to a chart behind him. See? L is not targeting homosexuals, females, people of color, or transgender individuals more than any other population. L only targets criminals, not marginalized groups. I'm sick of people using L's judgments to justify bigotry. Well, I'm glad Nate River gets it. Beyond is thrilled to such a bright, intellectual young man on their side. He alone has captivated audiences around the world and introduced them to ideas previously unexpressed. He stood alone for quite some time, the only person willing to speak for L's cause. Many of you have also asked about my ideas on these subjects, and I will give you answers. I support homosexual rights, although not a homosexual myself. I am permanently single and will remain that way. Sorry to everyone who has sent me letters professing their love. Women deserve equal rights, as do people of color. I am not very familiar with the transgender community, although I have no issues with them. I only have issues with criminals, promises Near as he continues to stare at the camera. The world is for good, truthful people. He is such a good voice for our cause, proclaims Beyond in a fond tone. Indeed. Before the show closes, we'll take a look at the world. Near gestures to an image of the globe that has been hastily changed by the stage members. Globally, crime has dropped by 90%. Violent gang activity has reportedly decreased by 83%, although some sources estimate the percentage to be around 87%. No genocides or wars are occurring, a true win. Overall, life expectancy for non-criminals has risen by 7 to 15%. I'm Nate River. Remember to follow me on my website at natetriverstruth.org. I'll see you back here tomorrow. L opens his death note, clicking his pen. He waits for the next program to come on. L, do you feel okay? Beyond bites at his finger, trying to calm his nerves. L has 2.5 hours left, and they are continuing to dwindle. Yeah. L continues to fiddle with his pen, oblivious to Beyond's struggle. Are you? Yeah, I'm complete fine. Beyond cowers under L's harsh stare. Fine. I'm a little worried. Why? L blinks at him with his wide eyes, and something inside Beyond crumbles. He leans closer to Beyond, closing his death note. Is there something I should know? The numbers are running out, answers Beyond, unsure of how to explain it. Numbers? What numbers? L gives him a baffled, helpless look. He tugs on Beyond's arm like a scared child. What are you talking about? You're scaring me. Everyone has a set of numbers, begins Beyond in a slow voice. He ignores the news reporter narrating newly captured criminals. The numbers indicate your lifespan. I've never seen anyone's fluctuate, and when they start to get low, it means your time is running out. Loliot, your numbers indicate that you have around 2 hours and 20 minutes left. That can't be, mutters L, hopping off the couch. He paces in front of it, his bare feet leaving soft prints on the floor. Watery-san? Watery-san. Watery enters the room, giving L a curious look. He looks over L, a sad smile appearing in his withered face. The Shinigami reminds Beyond of a disfigured butler. Something about him set Beyond on edge, but he always seems to take care of L. Loliot-san. What seems to be the issue? Beyond says I'm going to die. L's eyes fill with tears. Am I going to die? Watery bows his head. I truly hope not. I will protect you, Loliot-san. Thank you, Watery-san. L runs over to him, hugging him. The Shinigami embraces him before letting him go. Just be careful. I will, promises L. Beyond turns the rest of the conversation out. He has a lot of judging to do, and he hates thinking that he may have missed the names of several criminals already. He feels significantly less guilty when he remembers that L could die. He takes a pen off the coffee table, jotting down the names he sees on screen. He sneers at each photo, thinking about what each person will look like 6 feet under the ground. He takes his time writing each name, every curve and line drawn with uttermost dedication. He thinks it is more than any criminal deserves, but Beyond is dedicated to perfection. It's why he likes L, another person devoted to the idea of perfection. Beyond wonders when he started feeling numb during judgments. Judgments used to thrill him. They used to send his heart racing. He would be on edge, his nerves tingling with excitement. Now he feels like he's doing it out of habit. He does it because it must be done. Judgment has slowly become another daily routine, another thing he must do for the sake of progress. L. A distorted voice snaps Beyond out of his silent musings. A gothic letter K floats on the screen, replacing the news anchor. I'm sure you remember me. Oh fuck, mutters L, letting out a noise that sounds a little too much like a moan for Beyond's liking. Kira. Well, this might be really, really bad. Beyond puts his head in his hands. Beyond never got to see Kira. He imagines that Kira would be a short, plump Japanese man with slowly graying hair. He'd wear a trench coat and dress shoes. Beyond imagines that he'd be incredibly stern and cold, unable to start a family due to his demeanor. Kira was smart enough to stay clear of Beyond. L says he met Kira, but he absolutely refuses to talk about the man. Is it possible that this message is connected to L's lifespan? If it is, then my lifespan must be dwindling as well. Kira must have learned something important. But how? I've made sure to be very careful. I now have suffice evidence to convict both of you. Beyond imagines that Kira is smiling from where he is safely hidden away. I suggest that both of you prepare to surrender your weapon. This reign is over. How did he do this? Beyond throws the remote across the room, causing L to flinch and curl into the Shinigami's side. That evil fucking bastard. I swear that I'll kill him. Beyond, relax for a moment. He could be bluffing. L wrings his hands together. He could be broadcasting this message to this area. You might be wondering how I pulled this off, Birthday-san and Loliot-san. L goes pale and rigid at hearing that. You see, television is a miracle. You can tamper with the broadcast an individual house receives if you know enough people. Your house was the only one in the entire world to see this specific broadcast, and those criminals have died. This is no coincidence, and it is sufficient evidence to convict you both. That's why your numbers dwindled. Beyond hangs his head, unsure what to say. Beyond wanted them to do this together, and Beyond was the only one who wrote any names in his notebook. All of this is entirely Beyond's fault. If he hadn't pushed L to have sex and judge people with him, this wouldn't have happened. Loliot, I'm sorry. We are on our way to arrest you both. Kira's symbol disappears off the screen, replaced by a no-signal screen. Beyond, we should go. Beyond wonders when L stopped using the honorific. Part of him finds it refreshing to have someone else use American social customs. No need for frivolous honorifics and impeccable mannerism. No. Beyond sighs, looking around. This is all my fault. One of us needs to take the fall, and I refuse to let it be him. Besides, I have one final trick to show Kira. What? You're wasting time. L stomps his foot against the floor. He has an hour and a half left. L Loliot, get out, whispers Beyond, tears filling his eyes. Please get out and let me handle this. I can't leave you here. If Kira finds you, you'll be given the death penalty. L frets overs Beyond, hurrying over to wipe away his tears. I can't leave you behind. I don't have that many friends, and I can't afford to lose any. Loliot, get out. I have plan, and you can't be here. Really. I promise. Go with Wettery-san. Beyond offers L a final hug, giving him a goodbye kiss on the cheek. I love you. You are one of my dearest and only friends. L smiles at him, tilting his head. Take the money and train ticket on the stand near the stairs. You should be able to get out of here. Beyond nods at L to get him moving. Go far away from here. L won't meet his eyes. Okay, I'll go. Good. Don't come back. Beyond offers him a final wave, seeing L disappear from his vision. He hears the back door open, and he hears it close. How noble of you to sacrifice your life for him, coos Naomi from where she's perched on the staircase. This is my fault. Beyond stands up, hearing his body snap and pop. He heads to the kitchen, grabbing the sharpest knife he owns. He locks the back door, looking outside to make sure L truly left. He is nowhere to be seen. I must fix this. He heads back into the living room, sitting back down on the couch. He grabs his death note, realizing L must have taken his copy when Beyond was not paying attention. In his neatest handwriting, he writes, Beyond birthday sits on the couch. When the L task force arrives, he stabs himself after cackling at them. He bleeds out, and they are unable to save him, regardless of how hard they try. He dies relatively quick and without any pain. You're using A's note to kill yourself. Naomi smirks. She is a wicked thing, but even she appreciates the irony. A would be so upset. The thing meant to say your life will now end it. Correct. Beyond smiles at her. It is unfortunate, but necessary. Light hides behind Matsuda. Matsuda has a gun, and Light has no weapon. The only reason he is even standing in front of Beyond's residence is because everyone else was preoccupied. So Ichiro and Aizawa had a meeting with some high-ranking official. Ida is sick, and Moji is protecting Takeda, the news reporter that helped Light on his plan. Matsuda kicks down the door with a lethal grace that surprises Light. Birthday-san? Loliot-san? Come out with your hands up, orders Matsuda, his tone confident and strong. He seems more put together than Light has ever seen him. Matsui-san? Come to say hi, I see. You even brought a friend. Beyond gives them both a blank stare. Hello Kira-kun. Or should I call you Yagami Light? How did you know that? Mutters Light in a horrified voice. Beyond throws his head back, cackling loudly. His laughter rings through the room, and Light suddenly isn't sure that he has won. Beyond pulls a sharp knife off of the small coffee table filled with candies that L liked, and he studies it without a word. Before Light can ask, Beyond points the blade towards himself and drives it through his stomach. He pulls it back out, repeating the process in a different area. Dear God, cries Matsuda, unable to look at the bloody scene in front of him. Beyond pulls the knife back out, looking at the blood coating it. His blood is the same color as Light's, the same color as the criminals he has killed. His black shirt grows darker in spots, but Light can't really see blood seeping through his shirt, and for that, he is incredibly grateful. He shoves the knife back in, and Light ignores the sudden urge to puke when he hears something snap. Oh God, I might puke. Light fans himself, trying to cool himself down. Not on my rug. I paid a lot for it, mumbles Beyond, staring blankly off into space. I ruined my nicest shirt. I always liked this one. Light tries not to look at Beyond's shirt. If he looks, he's afraid of seeing blood and open wounds that won't stop bleeding. Instead, he looks at the man's face, determined to get a few last things from him. Where is L? Gone. Beyond's eyes flutter rapidly. His fingers cradle his stomach. Where? Light asks, irritated by the lack of answer. You'll join him soon. You're going. Beyond's body slumps slightly, but his chest still rises and falls. He pulls his fingers away, seeing them coated in blood. To join him. He's going to die a few minutes sooner, and you'll follow. Excuse me. Light rolls his eyes. Beyond-san, I need an answer. You're excused? Beyond lets out a pained laugh. You're going to die. L is going to die. Light watches as Beyond's head tips back, his words cut off. He sits motionless, unable to respond to Matsuda's pleas and cries. Blood continues to seep into the fabric of his shirt. Part of Light wants to sit down on the carpet Beyond cared so deeply about and sob. But Light has a job to do, and he still might be able to save L. Matsuda-san, call Moji-san and tell him to come here. I think Takeda-chan will be safe. Light heads outside, finding himself in desperate need of air. He continues talking when Matsuda steps outside. He can handle everything. The evidence collection, calling a funeral home. All of it. We need to find Lolliot-san. Where did he go? Matsuda gives Light a pitying look, wiping away a few tears. He could be anywhere. One day, we'll meet again. The sun will be shining, and the breeze will be warm. I hope it'll be near the water tower where the cherry blossom trees bloom. The water tower. The realization dawns on Light, and he's puking in Beyond's rose bushes before he can finish processing the information. Beyond-san said Lolliot-san is going to die. He'll jump from the water tower. Hurry, get in the car? We can be there in 30 minutes. Matsuda quickly starts the car, putting the sirens on. Light climbs in the front seat, buckling his seatbelt. Please let us arrive on time. Please. Chapter 7. The metal feels cold under L's bare feet, each step a somber reminder of what he must do. When his legs start to shake from exhaustion and adrenaline wearing off, he thinks about Beyond. L has a feeling that Beyond is dead, and L isn't sure why that makes him feel so defeated and upset. He never really understood Beyond, but it had been nice to meet another person who had been somewhat like L must finish what he started. Without Beyond, he doesn't have much protection. He could write Yagami Light's name in his notebook, but he struggles to even think about doing it. Besides, if he kills Light, he would have to kill every member of the team. L would ruin so many families, and he cannot make himself do it. He had plenty of time to think about what he is doing. He sat on the train, cradling his legs to his chest, thinking the entire ride. It was his first and most importantly, last train ride. He had stared out the window, trying his hardest not to start crying. He had finally come so close to being happy and functional, only for his dream to be violently crushed. L had ever so slowly been stopping the execution of criminals. Part of it did have to do with Light, and the other part of it was incredibly confusing. But Beyond wanted to keep going. Beyond wanted a perfect world. He had told L that he dreamed about death ever since his parents died. He made a very brief appearance in a Japanese slasher movie as one of the killer's henchmen. Beyond's character, Davy Malgai, killed one of main characters, and her boyfriend killed Davy in the next scene. Beyond admitted that he was fascinated by the violence, although his agency decided that Beyond shouldn't risk his modeling career for widely unsuccessful slasher movies. Beyond's fascination with violence and death didn't mean he deserved a violent end. Hopefully, he closed his eyes and felt nothing. Lolliot-kun. Watari never uses that honorific for L. He thinks it is because Watari knows his time is coming. What exactly is your plan? L knows better than to tell him the truth. I just need a minute to think. I would come here regularly. I always found the view rather lovely. L climbs onto the water tower's balcony, finding the metal to be slightly warmer under his feet. He hums softly at the warmth, walking into the sunlight. He sits down, pulling his knees to his chest. It is beautiful. Watari looks at the slowly setting sun. Why here, my dear boy? To observe humanity. L gestures to the cityscape. I would always sit here and think about what it would be like to be someone living there. I would imagine that I had a cute little apartment and someone to go home to. It's pathetic, but it would fill me with hope. I always thought I'd be able to make the fantasy into a reality. That is rather cute, Lolliot-san, comments Watari in an affectation tone. You think so? L tilts his head at the Shinigami. I do. Watari stares at sky. I've always loved observing humanity. I've been around for quite some time, simply watching humanity evolve. Much has changed. Empires have fallen, cities have grown, tools have been created and changed, and everyday life has become different. At the same time, nothing has changed. People have always been people. People have been drawing, delivering babies, making special recipes for their loved ones, telling stories by the fireside, writing letters to their lovers, studying the stars, fighting for petty reason, and all the other fundamentally human things for years. You are just like them, Lolliot-kun. You may not see it this way, but it is true. Countless people have traveled far away from home to sit and observe the stars. You are observing the sun, but it does not change my point. It is not pathetic to hope for a better future. People have been doing it for eons. Society exists to help make a better, brighter future possible. Oh Watari-san. That's so cute. That's not really why we are here, but I appreciate the effort. I wish I had met you earlier in my life, before I developed this odd sense of justice. I'm sorry to you too. I keep letting everyone down. Yagami Light-kun, Beyond, and now you. That's why I must do this. That's very cute. L is careful not to voice his true feelings, offering Wattery a cute smile. I am deeply grateful for your companionship. It has been an honor to meet you. Wattery gives L a wide smile. Something about it makes L want to grab onto him and sob into his shoulder like a scared child. You know, in another life, I think you'd be my son. Really? L blinks back tears. Yes. You might not be my biological son, but you would be my son. Wattery stands closer to L. You know, the Shinigami King says that alternate universes exist. I should have asked Ryak more about that. He always did seem to know something I did not. Well, if I was your son in another world, I think I'd be happy. L smiles to himself at the thought. I wonder if I would have been the notorious L in that universe. I would like to think that you would be incredibly important in any universe. Wattery pats L's hair. I think you would be. Even if you didn't change the world, you would have changed my life. Maybe I could have been with Lightcon in that world. L immediately blushes at the thought. L is about to seal his fate, but even thinking about the man gets him overly excited. He wishes that things could have ended differently. Maybe in another universe, where Light is slightly more persuasive and L is slightly more trusting, L would have taken Light up on his offer. It's too late to take him up on his offer now. I think you could be with him in this universe. It's too late for that, mutters L sadly. I messed up. Lightcon, he deserves better. He is Japan's most respected detective. I am, at most, a multilingual orphan with nothing to offer. He seems fond of you. He seems fond of capturing a mass murderer, corrects L in a gentle tone. And I just so happened to be him. Lightcon knew that. Wattery shakes his head. You are a rather stubborn thing. L lets out a gentle laugh. He stops laughing when he remembers that will likely be the last time he does that. Wattery-san, where will you go when I cease to exist? To the Shinigami realm. Wattery scoffs, giving L a stern look. But you will be perfectly fine. Your numbers can change. They can. L rubs his thumb across his lower lip. Have they? No. Wattery gives him a pitying look. But I saw someone else's number change. There is still time. L stares at the sunset, taking all the various shades of pink and orange behind the cityscape. Something about it reminds L of a painting in Beyond's studio room, but the painting used a blood red instead of pink. L takes in a deep breath, slightly relieved that the sunset is so beautiful. He wants his last day on Earth to beautiful, something for him to remember as he plunges to the ground. The peace is broken by a siren in the distance. L immediately hops to his feet, seeing a shiny black car coming closer. Before in a matter of moments, it'll be directly in front of the water tower. I can carry you away. Wattery gives L a worried look. We can be gone in a matter of moments. No, I plan on staying. L pulls out the death note, setting it on the balcony. I don't want to run. I must finish what I started. I deserve to die, and I have decided to do it on my own terms. It is not that I truly want to die but rather that I know my death is inevitable. This way, I won't spend years on death row to end up dangling from a rope in one of Japan's beautiful cities. I knew this would end in death. I just wasn't 100% sure it'd be mine. L walks towards the edge of the balcony, looking down at the ground beneath him. He is so far away from the ground that the fall is sure to kill him. Perfect. Lolliot. L whips his head around when he hears someone call his name, but he sees no one. Instead of continuing to search, he takes a deep breath, savoring his final breath. He stares at the pink of the sky, wondering if his blood will be that color on the soft grass beneath him. He grabs onto the railings, his palms sweating profusely. He trembles standing in the spot without an protection, the only spot where he really has enough room to jump. I'm so sorry. You'll never know how sorry I am. A tear rolls down L's face. I never meant to cause this much pain and suffering. I never meant to become a hazard to society. I am so sorry. I never should have done this. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. L takes another deep breath. And then, he jumps. Wattery's eyes widen. He had wondered why L had come here, but the boy had done that before. He would sit up here and study the stars, silent for the most part. He knew L was destined to die today, but he never imagined it would be because the boy chose to end it. He grabs his notebook, ignoring how warm part of it is. He grabs the pen from the page it was balanced on. Wattery needs to do something. He quickly jots down some names: Fernando Sanchez, Adrian Heiklets, Donovan Pikes, Inomoto Fuji, Bella Buford, Alejandro Rodriguez, Samuel Smith, Toyama Hakiro. L should be able to live a good life with the remaining years of a variety of corrupt politicians and sly criminals. Wattery remembers all their faces from newspapers and books that L never had time to read. Wattery stretches, hearing his bones snap. He's too old to keep doing this job anyways. He has been doing it for eons, he needs a change. Wattery has lived a fulfilling life as a Shinigami, and this is his chance to give L a similar life. The only thing Wattery regrets is that he will be unable to see what L does. He wings unfurl behind him, fluttering around rapidly. Wattery hasn't flown in quite some time, but today seems to be the day for change. He dives from the area where L jumped, hurriedly reaching out to him. His claw-like fingernails clasp onto L's soft t-shirt, allowing him to pull L to him. Wattery flips the boy around, cradling the back of his head with the hand also holding the death note. He looks so small and delicate in Wattery's massive arms, like a small child that has been ensnared by a monster from a nightmare. L cries into his shoulder, and Wattery can make out the words, "I'm so sorry." L repeats those same words like a mantra, but Wattery doesn't find it relaxing. Wattery slows the fall, cradling L to him the whole time. When he gets directly above the ground, he continues to flutter his wings, gently setting L on the ground. Why? L looks at him with wide eyes. Why would you do that? You're like my son. L's eyes fill with tears, and a few slide down his wind-whipped cheeks. Why would you do that? You're going to die. I know. Wattery offers him an apologetic smile. I'm okay with that. I've been looking to retire anyways. That's not funny. L lets out a pained gasp. Please. Why would you do that? Because I love you, my dear child. I couldn't watch you die and throw your future away. They are going to put me on the death row? I'm going to die anyways. L wiggles around on the ground, his body shaking slightly. You didn't have to die too. I think you'll be alright. 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 L shakes his head, his eyes widening. More tears trickle down his face. I'm the reason you're dying. I'm the reason Beyond is dead. This is my fault. How am I supposed to be alright? Wattery wishes he had more time to comfort him. You will be. I willingly did this. So did Beyond. You cannot be angry that other people love you. Please, try to be happy, for me. Wattery, how am I supposed to do this without you? L's voice cracks. I don't think I can. I don't want to. You will do it. I know it. Wattery looks at the numbers above L's head. He has about 50 years to look forward to. Loliot. Light starts sprinting when he sees L. You see, you won't be alone. Wattery watches as the numbers change above Light's head. They went from around a minute to around 50 years. Fascinating. They are simply meant to be. I wonder if this is why Ryak laughed when I said the name of the young man who possessed my notebook. He did say something about irony and fate. I should have asked about that. Goodbye, L. Loliot. Try to be happy, for me. Wattery-san. L looks at him, a pained smile on his face. Thank you. I love you, and I love you too, my dear son. Light wraps his arms around L, pulling him to his chest. I thought it's okay, you're safe. I don't know what I thought. I'm glad you're safe. With a smile on his face and his heart full of love, Wattery crumbled into dust. His dear Loliot was safe, and that was all the Shinigami could ask for. Chapter 8. In your loving arms. Light wraps his arms around Loliot, pressing a kiss to the back of his neck. Loliot relaxes into the gentle contact, allowing Light to wrap his arms around his waist. Light-kun. Loliot turns to stare at him with wide eyes. Are you okay? Yeah. Light continues kissing the back of Loliot's neck. I just want to be close to you. Purrs Loliot, blushing softly. You know I love when you're affectionate. Light continues to place soft kisses on Loliot's neck, hearing his breathing become uneven. Light rarely kisses Loliot's neck, only doing such when they're going to get intimate. Given Loliot's warm response, Light decides he should do this more often. Even after all this time, Light is still afraid of being too pushy, even if Loliot encourages him to do more. Light cares about Loliot more than the world will ever know. He wouldn't lie to authorities for just anyone. Light-kun. Loliot lets out a gentle moan. God, you're so good to me. Am I really? Yeah. His eyes flutter before closing. You are the reason that I am safe and loved. Light smiles to himself at the confession. Good. I will always protect you, my beloved Loliot. A small smile forms on Loliot's face, and he looks younger than he has for years. Light would like to think that he is somewhat responsible for this, considering he makes sure Loliot has food, regular doctor's appointments, and a safe place to live. Loliot may still be too thin, his bone too close to his skin, but progress takes time. Loliot has only been in Light's care for 2 years, and they both needed a lot of time to adjust. Light had never lived in his own apartment before, especially with someone he decided to pursue a relationship with. Loliot had only ever lived with Beyond, and that hadn't lasted very long. I'm glad I have you, whispers Loliot. I'm glad you allow me to love you. Light pulls Loliot close to him, deciding that Loliot can be the little spoon. Light likes being the big spoon anyways. Loliot simply feels right in Light's arms. You're so lovable. I simply adore you. Loliot rolls over so he can face Light, a playful smile in his lips. I adore you too. You're so good to me. You're such a good lover. Sometimes, I wonder if I really deserve you. Regardless of whether or not you feel adequate, I've decided that you are the only person I want. Light's fingers begin trailing over Loliot's thigh and up to his hip. My family loves you. Your father does not. My father likes you. Light sticks his tongue out in a teasing manner. He just knows that you were L. He helped me get you off the hook. What made you think I deserved that? Loliot's eyes fill with tears. Today was not a good day to mention this. I guess I'll have to do our yearly reassurance. Purely selfish reasons, admits Light. He sees no point in lying. I knew the truth from the beginning. I always wanted you, even when I knew you were Kira. I only wanted you more for it, actually. But what made you think that was a fair, moral thing to do? Light presses a soft kiss to Loliot's forehead. I didn't think that. I knew it wasn't the perfectly moral thing to do. But I knew if I couldn't be with you, I wouldn't want to keep pursuing this path. You help me solve my cases and keep me from losing my mind during cases. I think that being able to love you is more meaningful than being morally correct. Loliot licks his lips. We should go lay flowers on Beyond's grave. Beyond will be okay if we do it tomorrow. Light rearranges himself so that Loliot is as close as possible. I just want to spend all day with you. I almost lost you. That was 2 years ago. Loliot shivers nonetheless. Besides, I don't want to focus on the past. I want to look to the future. I see the future whenever I look at you. Light-kun, I see my entire world when I look at you. Light's heart races at the statement. I love you. I love you too. Loliot wraps his arm around Light. Thank you so much for everything, my beloved Light-kun. Of course, my love. If they spend all day snuggling, they'll visit Beyond's grave tomorrow. They have plenty of time left. Notes. I know this chapter wasn't very long, but I just wanted to give them a happy, less ambiguous ending. Thank you all for reading.